Level sound good?
A little bit hot. If you can bring him down.
I'm a little bit hot. How about now? How's that sound? Good?
That's much better.
Much better. Right on. Cool. All right. Well, I'll play us a little ditty. Good evening, Block Chung. Good evening, Ben. Just going to play us a little song here while we all get situated.
We tweet that space out.
Yeah, if y'all could, that would be great.
When I think of you, 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 think of you,
I don't think of nobody, only money, give it to me. They was laughing, now it's funny how they love me. I'm a motherfucking musty, you must be out of your mind thinking you could touch me. Go ahead and judge me, you'll never fucking budge me. Pockets getting pudgy, accomplishments getting fuzzy. How frequently they come and you know you not really wanted. Stop playing, bitch, you nothing. Don't make me show you, look. Fuck your anxiety, fuck your society. You should ride with me. We gon' mob the streets. Fuck the make-believe. We gon' make the peace. You just wait and see. We taking everything.
just me and you. When I think of you.
Hello, hello.
All aboard!
If I were you, I would think about climbing on board.
It was a little delayed, but here I am, finally on the ball. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the WX8BK Night Train. Welcome to the trip tonight. Jump on board. Don't worry about getting yourself a ticket because, of course, the ride's always on us tonight. Tonight with you, we've got myself, Bits. We got One Wheel Willie in the house. Mike Nash is
Hello.
taking a little vacation. And our special guest tonight, I'm probably going to mess up his name, is Ben Kanizay. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out in a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for popping in here tonight. How are you doing tonight, Willie?
Just busy, man. Just slammed. Like, just feeling out of touch with the space and, you know, just getting notifications that Tez is just popping off. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. But I'm not watching charts. I'm not paying attention to anything. Too busy to notice, man.
It happens, man. You know, I've seen that a lot actually in the last couple of weeks. You know, it's. I mean, it's fine when you got nothing going on, IRL, and jobs to keep and stuff like that. But when the kids are playing baseball and you got IRL stuff to do, right?
Yeah, and a lot of companies and industries and things like that will basically take off the month of December, and then they're kind of slow to get started again in January. So once the budgets start getting approved and things like that, then a lot of things start hitting the ground right about now and going into the start of the second quarter. So it starts to compound, just kind of piles upon itself, and everyone wants it all done at the same time. So
well, of course. Well, you can always take a break from the space if you ever have to, Willie. Everybody should know that. Everybody should remember that. It's definitely a reoccurring thing. We used to always touch on it lots on this space. Is that folks, when you're feeling burnt out, it's probably already too late, and you should just take a little bit of a break, no matter what it is. If you can, just take a break, right? And especially when it comes down to this space, the Web3 world, and those that are creators and collectors and who are trying to be influencers or whatever, like, make sure you take breaks when you need to take breaks. It's really, really super important. It's very easy, especially nowadays with all this technology in our hands, to get caught up in it and get burnt out by it. That was my public service moment for tonight.
Yeah, well said.
Thanks.
Well said,
well,
actually.
It happens a lot, right? I mean, hey, I tried to take a weekend away this weekend, and then I worked a little hard at some stuff and I caught myself. And even my mother's like, "What are you doing?" "Nothing, Mom. I'm coming out to color. Let's go coloring." Cool. Yeah. So other than it being super ultra busy, you've had a good week since we last spoke.
Yeah, we had a 3-day weekend here in the States too,
Oh, really?
but
Okay.
that didn't help me get anything done. I got my fridge moved, which kind of helps me get my wine room starting to come together a little bit. But
Got to get the wine room
the
together.
well, the fridge is now in my inclement weather studio, so my outdoor indoor space where I do the spaces from. So I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll see. It may be very bad because I might start drinking earlier than normal. Try not to though.
Go for it.
But
That's all right.
yeah, so got a little bit done, but not enough to really say that feel accomplished for a 3-day weekend.
Yeah. I
You know.
I wasn't even at my own mom. I was at my mom's place, 5 hours away from my home. So I just when I go there, I do like nothing, as little as possible.
You're not like constantly, fixing things and
Nope.
doing her brakes and changing her her toilet seals or something,
No,
doing that
actually,
around the house shit.
actually, the brother-in-law was there, and when the brother-in-law's there, he's the one that does anything that needs to be done. So,
Oh, there you go. That's why I don't go to my in-laws' house.
oh yeah, no, mom,
Because that's me too.
mom just lets me rest. So that's dope. It was fun. The dog had a great time too. It was a good weekend. I forgot, just when we started the show there, our opening song, um, that was Picante by Jay Byrne, who, as we know, last week was claiming that he was leaving the space and dropping it all and walking away. And of course, he was just taking a little break and he stepped back in. So that was Picante by Jay Byrne is what we played on our opening track tonight. I always like playing some Jay Byrne, sometimes some Fendel. Got to give a shout out for that. I'm going to pin it up at the top here for anybody that's interested in checking his stuff out. I didn't really do any buying in the last week, I don't think. Did you buy anything of worthy mentioning?
Yeah, I bought some Stedman pieces. He kind of dropped a new like before Gonzo, and it was weird because I was looking up. Um, fuck, I just blanked. Anyways, shout out Juliet Hostin that she actually accepted one of my an offer that I threw out on one of those pieces that I picked up. So that was pretty cool.
Nice. Look,
Always fun to get offers accepted.
absolutely. My tweets aren't sending or anything. I'm trying to pin a couple things, so it's just not happening for me. My favorite one was I picked up a Fendel. Fendel dropped a new piece. I think it was on Friday, or maybe it was Saturday morning, and I grabbed that piece. That's a nice music piece, Cosmic Waves number 10. It's called. It's one of his cassette tape series. So I
Okay.
grabbed that. I was pretty happy with that. I grabbed a few more GMs from Paul, who is a ghost, as well. Those are on FX Hash, so those are pretty fun. They're all generated. So I did.
Yeah,
So I
those are
did.
cool. I like those.
Yeah, they were really fun. And you know me, I love my GMs. I love my GMs. My GM NFTs are the collection's getting huge. I might even make
Okay.
my own collection someday.
There you
Who
go.
knows? Absolutely. We got some people coming into the room now. That's awesome. Jay Byrne stepped in here. We got Ben Kanizay, our guest of honor tonight. Juliet down there, Block Chung, Static, NZBR. I don't know if that means something or not, but recognizing you're here as well. Brenda, Manny, thanks a lot, folks, for popping in here tonight. And I'd also like to give a big shout out to our 1 million Shadow Band listeners that are always listening to us every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Y'all can't see them, but I assure you they are there. We our space has the largest Shadow Band listenership out of any space in Twitter history, so we're really proud of that. We always give them a big shout out. all the time.
It's always funny. They send DMs and they're like, man, I tried to change my Twitter account again and I'm still shadow banned.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, it's the IP address. Your IP address is banned.
Yeah. No, see, as soon as I do that, as soon as I give a shout out to the shadow banned listeners, boom, like there's 990,000 DMs that just popped up. I don't know why my tweets are crashing. It keeps telling me I can't send tweets, but oh well, I was going to put a couple of my GMs up there, but you're all just going to have to know that they were amazing. Or maybe go pick one up yourself. Yeah, I didn't collect very much in the past week at all. But that can change on the drop of a hat. There was no I don't think there was any billionaire drops last week either.
Like I said, I feel so out of it right now.
Yeah, well, it does happen. Well, at least we're here and are comfortable.
Catch a couple things here and there, and
we're
not sure what's going on with the rest of the space.
That's all good, man. I live in our WX8BK world, and that's pretty much it. It's hard to do much of anything else for me. But I'm always around. That's the thing. I'm always around. Always DMing, always tweeting, always retweeting, always liking. Absolutely. Cool. Yeah. Next week on the space, we have Blind Chronicles, a visually impaired artist that's going to be joining us, and also a Canadian homie. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's always nice to have a Canadian on the space. It's very far, few, and between, but we're out there. We're out there. You get creative when you're locked inside in the cold for 9 months out of the year. So you can join us next week for Blind Chronicles. And then we're going to get into March, and we've got some feelers out there for our guests in March. Got some secrets. Can't really tell you all. It's private information at the moment in time. But when it's time to come out, it'll come out. You'll hear it here. It'll be awesome.
You will hear it here first.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you're one of the artists that we're talking to, and then you'll probably hear it
first. It's true that, right?
You'll know before we say here. So.
Absolutely. Cool, man. Well, that's all I got. I didn't buy nothing. I didn't do anything major. I spent the weekend at Mum's, so it was an uneventful weekend. Jay Byrne is back and jamming after his little hiatus. He's on a comeback tour now, so that's awesome. He's been dropping some new pieces.
Did he leave just to be able to do a comeback tour? I mean, a lot of artists do that.
Well, I use the word comeback tour. I don't believe he did, so maybe not to call it that. I'm just calling it just maybe, or maybe you just needed some time. Why not? It's a good way to get some time to yourself, to hang out, to go do some things for yourself. It was Valentine's Day. He loved himself.
There you go.
Right? Okay. I'm going to give up. All right, I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up trying to send tweets or do anything with tweets because it's not working and it's distracting me. So I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna sit back in my chair. I got my water, and I'm gonna enjoy this night. I guess we could bring our guest up because I think we're at that point. I think we can jump into this. I'm ready to jump into this.
Yeah,
it's been a while. We've had him booked for quite a while, as we've been so lucky to have such a pool of artists and guests to pick from that we can actually say that, we are weeks booked in advance. It's so cool. I like it. It's awesome. Awesome. I think I use awesome more than I use the F word in this space. Awesome.
Well, that's awesome. That's a better way to go.
Is it? Okay, so every time, maybe that's what I'll do. So every time I say awesome, I actually mean.
Oh, we're swapping words now. No,
no.
That's not a good way to go.
All right.
No, because then you'll get confused and you'll be like, "Oh no, wait, that time I actually meant awesome. I didn't mean fuck you. That was dumb. No. That one actually was awesome. Yeah, you shouldn't swap words like that.
No. Yeah, you got to be careful what we say. We don't want to get bucked.
Yeah.
Right. Don't want to get bucked. All right. Cool. Well, awesome. Well, I think it's about time we'll get to our guest. I'm ready to get to our guest. Our guest has accepted our invitation to speak, so that's always a good sign. Didn't run in the first 15 minutes, so successful it's going to be. So I'd like to welcome up to our stage Mr. Ben Kanizay. Kanizay, you're going to correct me on that, I'm sure?
Hey, James, how are you? Yeah, it's close. Kanizay.
Kanizay.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Well, there we go.
That's the English way to say it. Let's just go with that. Thank you. Hi to my friends that have turned up. I can see you all here. G'day. Hey, Jay Byrne, how are you, mate? I've got a few of his pieces. Cool stuff.
Absolutely. Love the Jay Byrne. 100%. Thank you for coming. I guess you're on. You're a man of the future, as if that joke never gets old, because it's Wednesday. You are down under.
Yeah, I'm just playing Doc here. It's Wednesday, 1 p.m. Nice and sunny day here.
Beautiful. 1 p.m. Hey, it's just in the afternoon. Oh, man, and you're almost done your Wednesday. Like, you're so close to the weekend. Way closer than us. Man.
Yeah, I'm halfway. I'm halfway through the day, halfway through the week. A couple
Absolutely.
hours before I got to pick up the kids from school, you know.
Oh. Well, you might be late. We're going to keep you. No, just kidding.
It's all good.
Awesome. Thanks. Been wanting to have you on ever since my first interaction at all with you was through Wag Me Wine, because you did one of the wine label submissions for their wine label competition, and I heard you on one of the spaces that they had hosted, and I was like, dude, we got to get you on. Like, I'm so stoked. So if you don't mind, just want to start off and give us a little background on yourself and anything if you don't want to dox yourself on anything, by all means, don't need to.
Oh yeah, like I am doxed.
All
I
right.
am. It's not a fake name.
All right.
The profile pic's semi-fake, I guess. I mean, I created it with AI, but it's got a profile pic, so that's me. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not hiding. Look, I am a developer slash creative, I guess, as you can tell. I've been doing web development for about 20 odd years now. I'm showing my age. Before that, I actually studied visual arts for a little while and then moved into multimedia. I actually got a job as a designer initially, doing a bunch of web and print design, and then learnt to code on the job and fell in love with it and made the switch. And yeah, I've been doing that full time for this whole time, and I've been working for myself for about 13 years now, and for the last 6 years have been in a partnership. So my business partner, he's a designer, and we run a little web agency here in Melbourne. So that's what I do full time. I got a couple of kids, married, teenagers, so that's a heap of fun. um, yeah, and so I don't know. I've even though I've been doing dev, I continue to dabble in creative stuff, just because I love it, and it's kind of something that I need to do for myself. And so I've done music, I've played instruments, did some DJing, I've continued to do art. I don't know, even cooking, I kind of find creative. Just a whole bunch of stuff, but it's only been the last, what are we now, Feb? So I think it was September last year, I believe, with Brenda, who's here, and Pam, my two good friends, invited me over to the Tezos community and the art on there. And so I started getting into that, and they encouraged me to. Pam had no idea, but she saw, I think on one of our Zooms that we had together, I've got my study at home. I've done the whole wall. It's like a replica of a Roy Lichtenstein painting that I did, and she didn't believe me that I'd done it. And so I had to show her video proof that it was actually me that painted it. And so then she was like, you have to start doing art and minting it. So yeah.
That was a hand painting?
Yeah, I painted it by hand. It's like the whole wall. It's like 3 meters by 2 meters roughly. And I painted it all by hand. It's like a pop art painting. It's The Drowning Girl, if you look that up. It's like that old school comic style pop art by Roy Lichtenstein. It was one of my faves. So I did a massive replica because I was bored one week, and then it took me like about a month. So she was encouraging me to really start creating, and so we had an event which was the Aussie Poapathon, and it was I think it was like 12 hours, was it, Brenda, something like that. It was like a live stream on YouTube. We had all artists on, and we did poaps and stuff throughout the whole day. We all minted stuff, for the event, and so that was the first piece I created, where I sort of combined coding and art together and created a piece that's completely drawn in code and it's kind of dynamic. It's called Hourly Uluru. I could probably dig it up if you want. But yeah, it's a simple, minimalistic piece of Uluru here in Australia, and it's dynamic in that I came up with like 24 different sort of color schemes that represented each hour of the day, and basically the piece will show for whatever time it is for you as a viewer. But you can click it and it sort of plays through the 24-hour thing, and you click it and it goes back to where it is. So if you visit the piece throughout the day, you can see it in different color shades and stuff. So that was a cool little piece I did, and yeah, that kind of really kicked it off. And I've created a handful of other sort of code drawn pieces since then. And then obviously I got distracted as well with a bit of AI, and I've been creating and learning a lot with AI, and loving that as well. So I love the two, and just learning the tools, experimenting with different styles. Obviously, it gives you this, the power to kind of create in styles that I probably never could have before. If I was just to create the art digitally myself or physically. So I love that side of it. So I've just been trying all sorts of styles and a few of the different tools, and enjoying that. And then, slowly getting back into doing a few more code art pieces, which I've managed to get a couple out and got a few more coming. But just before I came over to do actual art, me and my business partner, we launched a PFP project over on Polygon, like about a year before. That was late 21, I think it was. And so we did that. And we did the whole thing ourselves. So it was a massive learning thing. So I learned how to, code smart contracts on Ethereum and Polygon. Learned all the, the stuff for developing dApps. So for the actual website to connect your wallet and mint the tokens. And that's like a full interactive NFT as well. So it's like continually customizable. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes along with that, like a whole website. But yeah, that was a heap of fun and definitely a lot of learning, a lot of stress.
What's the name of that project?
So that one is called Everyday Sloths. It's like a PFP.
I love sloths.
Yeah, sloths are cool, right? Like, who doesn't love sloths? So that's a fun one where, it's like an interactive and customizable NFT, and we've got a website with like a store that you can keep buying items, and you can basically change your PFP up or your token as often as you want, and then it updates the metadata and refreshes what's kind of shown for people, like on OpenSea.
And you did all the programming for that?
Yeah. The two of us did everything. So, like I said, Blaj is the designer, my business partner. So together we both did the creative stuff, but I was more kind of just doing sketches, of the different items that we might have. But he did all the finished art and the designs. But I developed everything: the tokens, the back end, the smart contract, the website. We did it all.
Wow, that's a lot of work to take upon a couple people.
Yeah, it is. we learned that, that PFP projects were taking off. We're kind of probably a little bit late just because it took a lot longer. So we sort of missed that bull run. We got ours out late, sort of just before Christmas 2021 when the bear market kind of really hit. So timing wasn't ideal, but that was okay. Just much slower burn and sort of chipped away at it. But I think we spent just over a year, almost full time on it. Like, we kind of put a halt on our business and everything to give it a good crack. And so, it came the time where we really had to, like, we haven't dumped the project or anything, but we've had to pivot and get back to our biz, which is actually putting food on our table. And so it's kind of in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment while we, get our feet again and free up some funds and time to be able to dive back in. So it's still there.
Man, that life thing's always getting in the way. Huh?
Yeah. So distracting.
Right? Gotta food, shoes. Come on.
Exactly.
So this hourly Uluru piece, I just pulled it up here. So with coding, is this just the style you're doing when you do it, or is this just kind of how it basically all comes down because it boils down to pixels?
No. I mean, there's some insane code art out there. If you look around, particularly if you dig through FX hash, things like that. But I'm a huge fan of minimalism. I do love that, the geometric stuff. And because it was the first piece I made, I was looking at different libraries I could use. That from a technical side, it's drawing on a HTML canvas, so it's all rendering on a canvas element. And so I used a library called P5, which is pretty popular with a lot of FX hash projects. It's like a JavaScript library that sort of gives you extra helper functions and the framework for drawing on canvas. So I was playing with that, and I kept it simple because I liked the visual style of it, and also it's obviously much easier to draw simpler shapes. And then once I'm able to draw, once I was able to draw the shapes, then I can really kind of do anything because it's just manipulating the colors, and that's where I kind of hooked into it hooks into basically the time, the clock on the computer that the viewer's on to get the time, and then tells the piece which color scheme to show. And so I've kept it simple for that reason, because it is easier to draw, although there's some really cool and complex stuff you can do, and I'll probably move a bit into that at some point. But like I said, I love that style, so a lot of the pieces I have done are that minimalist style, but it could, I guess, be a little deceiving because there's a ton of work and code that goes in behind them. Particularly another one I did called Seascapes. I'll dig it up and pin it. But that one's probably my proudest one of the code art pieces. That was a hell of a lot of work.
That one's dope.
Yeah. So that was, and I was going to do an FX hash collection, right, where it was I don't know if anyone doesn't know, but with FX hash, you create like one token, which is called the generative token, and it has all the code to output all the different iterations, and basically it takes the transaction hash, which is unique, and it uses that to create one instance of a random result. So I could have done, say, the Seascapes one and done a collection of 50 or whatever it was that would spit out the different landscapes. But I figured I'd try and flip it on its head and just do a token that you can buy that is kind of got unlimited art in it, because each time you click, it's a completely random composition. Like all I did was the sort of boundaries to make sure the horizon doesn't go too high or too low, and the mountains don't go beyond a certain point. But within those ranges, it's completely random. And so that one, that was a ton of work, and it's kind of deceiving. Like you see the thumbnail, and it looks pretty simple, but once you read the description and play around with it, it's got a heap of stuff in it.
That's what I've just, once again, another artist. People, we've heard it a million times in this space from lots of artists and other people. Always read the descriptions. Because I looked at these, and I'll be honest, I didn't read the descriptions. And just now, as you're starting to describe them, then I've gone in, I'm reading the descriptions. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, so
there's
cool.
different times of day. And you can pause and you resume, and then you can use different keys to, because it's random each time, you can use the keys to stay on a particular, color scheme if you like that, and just mess around with the compositions. And then I did a whole musical, what I call like a musical experience, which goes for about 5 or 6 minutes. So if you have the time, chuck some headphones on and do it in full screen. It's actually really cool. But I put together a bit of a score, and it actually, even though it stays random in terms of the composition you get, but I coded in sort of the time codes for it to actually change at the right time with the music. But what it actually shows, is still random. It's just, it triggers the change to happen at the right time, so it feels like it goes along with the music. So that was cool too.
That's really cool.
So that one's probably, I've definitely put the most work of all the sort of code art pieces I've done into that one. So obviously that's my most proudest one, but it is the first in a bunch I'm going to be doing that are in that style. That like the next one I'm working on is a cityscapes one. So it'll all be very similar in the way it works and what it does, but it'll be all cityscapes with obviously different music and a different look and feel, but still minimalist and infinite sort of compositions.
Oh, that's so cool. So cool. I had no idea. I had no idea about this world, and of course you're very creative with what you're doing with it. I'm looking at these and I'm pretty blown away, and hearing you talk about them is just amazing. How much, that's got to be a lot of work. Coding, you're literally writing code, obviously.
Yeah, the whole thing's drawn with code. It's not loading in any images. So all the shapes, everything's all just code. It's just X and Y coordinates, it's polygons, X and Y coordinates, and it fills in the space in between those points. But yeah, I actually used AI to generate like a reference image, which was just a simple minimalist seascape, and then that was the basis for the foundation of what you see there, like a boat in the water and a sun. That just kind of gave me a reference to try and draw it with code. And then once I had all the shapes drawn in code, then I just can take that wherever whatever I want to. And so I did things like there's a minimum and a maximum number of mountains, and it'll randomly pick that whenever you click, and then the elevations of each one, and whether it's day or night, and then there's 2 of each of those. All of that. Once it's drawn, it's kind of just manipulating all those, I guess, all those coordinates of those points. It gets a bit nerdy, but yeah, it was a ton of work. Like I chipped away at it, over a few weeks, as much as I could.
Oh, wait. Don't just gloss over the nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
Some people's eyes glaze over when I start going too deep into it, so I don't want to bore anyone.
Yeah, well, they want to hear about different stuff. They can start their own space.
That's right.
I want to geek out on the nerdy stuff.
So it's let me bring up the file. So my JavaScript file it's about 1,500 lines of JavaScript. And that's in addition to the library that you load, which is the P5. Actually, I'm using a few JavaScript libraries for that one. There's the P5, which I talked about, that actually kind of does the drawing onto canvas, and it sort of runs in a loop. And you define how many frames per second, and then it just calls this draw function each time. And inside the draw function, you're basically telling it what to draw. And so a lot of FX Hash projects won't necessarily run in the loop. It'll just run that draw command once and draw your kind of finished static result. But if you run it in a loop, obviously then you can do animations and stuff like that, which is what I'm doing. And then I'm using another library called Chroma. I think it's all in the description, but it's called Chroma.js, which sort of just helps you work with colors. And so that helps me kind of get the RGB values of the colors that I'm using. And I'm using another library called GreenSock, which is like an animating library. And it's really just animating numbers. So I'm basically giving it the RGB values, which are numbers. You've got red, green, and blue. And I'm giving it a start set of numbers and an end set of numbers. And then that little library kind of plays an animation of those numbers with like an easing value. So it could go from 0 to 100 over 1 second. And that way, every time that draw function is called, it's whatever the current number is. And that's how you get that transition of the color, if you want to get nerdy. They're the 3 main libraries I'm using.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I just came up with the color schemes, which are they're just hex values, colors that I've kind of pulled out and for the different elements. And then when you're clicking, if it's changing the time of day, it's just animating to the new color.
I'm playing with it right now. I just brought it up on my
computer.
I
dare you to try and find two identical kind of scenes. I mean, you just click; it's just infinite, almost.
It's so cool! Wow.
Well, now I need my own soundboard.
That out. You wanted the ooh-ahs or something?
No, I'm playing with it right now.
Oh. Aha. You'll have to go back and collect that one for later then, Willie.
Yeah, I just gave it clean myself.
And for those that are interested in, maybe purchasing this piece, it's a 200 Tez floor. So,
yeah, I've got one I've held on to. I actually ran a contest. Actually, it was the Wag Me Wines contest. I had a contest for the sales and did a raffle. But I made available I think it was 3 different prizes, so the winner could just choose which one they wanted. But the piece I was still holding on to was one of them, but the winner didn't choose it, so I've still got it.
Oh, cool. That's a really neat piece. I like that I can, jump on object and play with it, though, with not owning it.
Yeah, you can save out. You can save out the image. I think I don't know if it works in the iframed version because there's some security issues. But if you click on, for example, the CDN link or the IPFS link, which is I think it's in the properties panel, you can go directly to the piece, and then through the menu, you can actually save out any of the compositions. It saves it as a nice big PNG file.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's cool. Well, that's just neat, man.
And the music was interesting. I basically plotted out kind of where in the music, in terms of seconds, each change should happen, and I've just got that in the code. So at, there's a whole bunch, but at 20 seconds it triggers the switch, and then at 46 or whatever it triggers the next switch. And all I'm saying is switch now, and either just switch to a new composition or switch to this time of day, and it sort of plays through all the available times of day, including this sort of, I don't know if you found that one yet, because it doesn't come up when you're just clicking, but you can trigger it with the keyboard, or it's in the middle of the music experience. But it's like a retro kind of game visual. It's all black with like bright green.
Yeah, the green.
Yeah,
I'm totally in that
That one's
one.
cool.
That's my childhood. We're watching
Yeah,
Tron.
exactly. Yeah.
Tron now.
It's definitely got that vibe.
That is, wow. That's just, this is the stuff I like to find out about. Like, Willie and I don't often dig deep to know everything about the guests that we have on, so that a lot of this stuff becomes surprises for us. And this is super big surprise for me. Like, I did not realize that these pieces were coding. Like, that's, obviously I didn't look into them. I didn't read, because you got great descriptions too.
Yeah, I mean, it needs it. And you're right. I mean, most people don't read, which is what happens. That's always the way.
I was trying to read through some of them today, but I should have started at the back, not the front.
I've just pinned another one. That was the latest one I put out, which is a one-on-one I did for Valentine's Day. Just a little fun one I put together. I did see that was a fun little interactive one, which kind of, the heart sort of move away from your mouse as you move around. There's I don't know, I think I did about 30 odd different color schemes. But then
I just saw it from my phone, so I just saw it. I saw that there was a lot more.
Yeah, so on the phone it's not as interactive.
Do it on a computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know either, because it was on the phone. Man, I'm playing. I got my mouse going through it right now. This would be oh wow, cool.
So I did about 30 color schemes, but then if you've seen the description, you can use the keys 1, 2, and 3, and it will just kind of switch up the configuration of that color. So really, you get like 80 odd, not even color schemes, because you can save out the image of each one.
Cool. This is just awesome, mindless entertainment. I love it.
Yeah. How did you code it to draw a heart?
So that is, I'm just trying to think. I think I did that one a little different. I didn't use P5. Let me just refresh what I did on that one.
Or is it kind of like a predetermined geometric shape?
Yes. Sorry. Let me bring it up.
So,
did,
for sure.
I think I just drew it on P5. I know I was exploring drawing it on that same thing and using code to draw it, and I'm just trying to see. Actually, I did it with... Okay, so that one's a bit different. That one's actually HTML elements. So the hearts are actually done with CSS. I don't know if you know CSS, but that's... Okay. Yeah, so they're actually CSS drawn hearts in HTML, and they're all HTML elements, each heart. So that's a lot closer to kind of what I would do when I'm building websites. Like, I could do like something on a page that had that.
It's like a predefined emoji, basically, kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. And so it's just using CSS, and then it's laying them out in a grid, and then obviously as you move your mouse, it's kind of changing their position so that they move away and play hard to get, which is why I called it playing hard to get.
Yeah, very cool.
So that was the latest one I did. And there's a couple others in the works, which I'm looking forward to. I got my first FX Hash one coming out soon, which will be for the corals, and that's going to feature Brenda's artwork, but in a new kind of way. So I'm just doing the coding behind it, but it's kind of presenting her work in a way that hasn't been shown before. And that'll also be a little interactive, as you move your mouse around. That's a fun one that we got coming out next month. Yes, next month.
I've been sleeping on Ben's work. I've realized now I need to pay attention here.
But yeah, amongst my object profile is a ton of AI art too, which I still love doing, and have been, as I said, I've been learning and dabbling. And so this year, I'm going to try and be a little more focused with both of them, and just try and be a bit more balanced with pushing out both.
Yeah, your AI stuff is great. I've been flipping through it all day and all last night, just kind of back and forth. You do some great stuff, and you're definitely you're you're not tied down to one thing. That's for sure. Like your mind works in many different ways. You're definitely last week actually our guest, I called her a creative. Like you're definitely a creative as opposed to just being an artist. Like you're a multi-talented Swiss Army knife kind of dude.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to ever say I'm an artist if anyone asks, but I'm definitely creative. I think that's why I just say I'm a creative coder, because that literally is what I am. And so I love. I mean, I am trying, and I'd like to find a style, but I also love variety. I mean, that's just me in general, and so I don't know if I'd want to be tied down to one. So I think the key would really be, which some other amazing artists do in the space too, is to be able to do different styles and still somehow they all have kind of my stamp on them. That would be the ultimate goal. But as I said, I've spent a lot of time just learning the AI tools, playing with different styles, and I've just done it in public. I've just minted a lot of what I've created. I've not minted a lot too, but yeah, I've just gone that route and am thoroughly enjoying it. That's not to say anything about all those amazing artists that do have a style, because I truly admire that too. And there's no right or wrong, really. It's art.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the artists that we've talked to, at least, like they don't really define their own style, if you will. It just kind of happens,
Yeah,
and that stamp that you see, like say, is just kind of it's just kind of them. It's just kind of a piece of them that kind of shines through, that they don't really like it's not necessarily like the signature at the bottom, you know what I mean, where it's a defined piece. It's a lot of times it's just kind of how they express things that it manages to come through that way.
yeah, for sure.
That's kind of what I've seen.
I had to pin, otherwise I'm going to forget. But there's another piece that I've just pinned up, which is another kind of epic one that once you read and play through is cool. So I'll just put that up there, but have a play when you can. But that one's got a lot of music involved in it, and it's kind of generative in terms of the layers being randomized, like the different tracks within the music. So that was a fun one we did. I did it as a collab.
So how do if we can go back a little ways, how did you even like really get into web design and all that? Like were you kind of artsy in school and growing up,
Yeah,
or
definitely. Like I was definitely always into the art side subjects, like even through high school. I mean, I've always loved drawing and painting. So through high school, I loved, doing art, graphics, photography. I was definitely drawn to all those subjects. And, I thought when I was very young, I used to say I want to be an artist when I grow up. Like relatives would laugh and stuff, whatever. But I always knew I wanted to do something creative, like whatever. I wasn't sure what exactly. And so I kind of, obviously excelled a bit more at those subjects. And when I finished high school, I mean, even then I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I started out doing visual arts and teaching. I thought maybe I'll try being an art teacher. But I think it was in the first year I realized I didn't want to be a teacher. So I dropped that and continued the visual arts and learned a whole ton and started doing a few, pieces and had a couple of mini exhibitions. And I was really very much doing the pop art / comic almost style of work. But quickly kind of realized that I was just a poor artist, that I didn't want to do that. So I kind of dropped it all, just went and got a full-time job stacking shelves at the supermarket because I wanted to buy a car and, just have a bit of income. So I did that and, just went from there to, I think, another retail job full-time. But like I was saying earlier, I just always got to be doing something creative. And so that was kind of killing me a bit. So I just took the dive and went back as a mature age student and studied multimedia. which was what it was called back then in like Web 1 days. But it was, it was basic web development or web design. It was like print design, a little bit of animation in Flash, if everyone remembers that. Actually, it was Macromedia.
I was gonna say,
Can't remember what it was called
was it
before
way
then.
back to the macro
Yeah,
media days?
Director and whatever Flash was before it was Flash. Can't remember what it was called. But yeah, definitely direct. So we studied all of that, and I actually loved it. Like within the first week of that course, I was like, I think this is what I want to do as my career. Like I just loved the whole thing. And so I ran with that, got a job in that, and so when I first got employed, I was doing just design. Like I said, designing websites. We were designing like DVD menus and all that stuff back then. That fun stuff, CD-ROMs, and print design and web design.
Yeah, so all the front end stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but I was working with a developer at the sort of small agency that I was at, and he was an absolute freak. Like now that I know, like I've learned PHP and all that, but he was mainly a PHP dev. But he would code in like just plain text editor back then, not even like colored. It was just like black and white text editor. He would do up like full e-commerce websites and stuff. It blew my mind. And so I was really fascinated by it. And so bit by bit, I started learning. Like I knew a little bit of the front end, like HTML, CSS stuff, very little just from the course, which sort of just touched on it. And I was doing a lot of Flash. It was mostly animation, but, a little bit of scripting. And so slowly I just learned how to, kind of build out the web pages and do a bit of the PHP to help him out, and just learned more and more. And I absolutely loved it. And so slowly started doing that more than the design and enjoyed it more. And then Flash kind of took off. And so I was actually moved into being a Flash developer, and I did that for a good 4 or 5 years full time. Worked at different agencies here in Melbourne. And so we were building, back in those days, a lot of Flash games and Flash websites, because that was the way to get cool animation and stuff.
Anything that's like really popular that we would know?
Probably not. One of the ad agencies we were at, we did a whole bunch of. It was just web banners, which I think are still popular, but we kind of tried to push the boundaries with those and made full interactive ones and ones that would take over the page. And so we did some big brand.
Oh, you're the guy responsible.
Yes.
You're the one we all hate.
So we did stuff for some of the big brands, like I think it was Holden, which is a car manufacturer here, and then like Maybelline and L'Oreal were big clients. So we did some big client work because it was one of those large ad agencies. But no, I think the most popular game I did was for it was Japan Tourism. It was like a snowboarding game to kind of try and get people up for snow season. So that was a fun one that did well at the time. But I doubt anyone here's heard of it. So yeah, I did that. And then, Flash died its death when Steve Jobs wrote his letter to Adobe. But I'd already started kind of doing more of the normal web dev as that was getting better. And JavaScript was very similar to ActionScript, which is kind of the coding stuff I did in Flash. Which is interesting now that I think of it, because a lot of the stuff when we were building Flash, we did all in code. Like we would have certain assets loading, but it was all drawn and animated with code mostly. So I never even thought of that back then. But and then I just transitioned out to normal web dev and started working for myself. And I think the rest I've already explained. I do it now.
Man,
very cool.
Back in the days, I remember Flash. That's how I used to do a little bit of web design and some graphic work and Flash. I remember I learned Flash and I was like, yeah, man, this is so awesome. I'm learning it. This is going to be it. and then, poof, it was gone. I caught the last end of the wave.
Yeah. I did the last agency I worked at just before I went out on my own. We were still at the tail end of a massive build. It was a huge company website. I can't even imagine what they paid for it, but they had a lot of Flash elements. Like it was a normal site, but there was all these little animations and interactive things like throughout the site, and they were all done in Flash. And it hadn't even been finished, and it, like that thing that Steve Jobs said came out, and then there was a whole I think it was live for a very short time before they had to replace it all.
No, oh, man. And actually, well, this may or may not be a true story. Sometimes we just act out, events here. But I actually stole my first book to learn Flash. I won't say from where or if this was a true
Is it
story or
that
I was
not,
gonna
but
big,
say
yeah.
big
like
fat
from a
Flash
library or a
Bible or whatever
torrent
it's called,
site.
the action script Bible?
I can't remember what it was called. It was thick.
But
It had
you stole a physical copy.
what's that?
You stole a physical copy. Oh, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Somebody stole a physical copy,
maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not a digital copy, not a
Not a
torrent.
oh no, not a digital copy. Not back then. Even though Flash was fancy, it still wasn't like. I guess I could have downloaded, but no, it was yeah. No, I actually took a physical copy. I probably still own it. I mean, I maybe still that person might.
Yeah, I've
Anyways,
still got it's just in the bookshelf in the garage, but I've still got one of the action script Bibles. I think it was Action Script 3 Bible or something, but yeah, big fat book that I don't know, I hardly used because you just, it's weird going into a book with code snippets and trying to, manually copy it out or whatever. So I don't know.
that's the
Yeah, it's much easier to
crossover of
copy
old
and
school.
paste from a PDF.
Yeah, the world has changed. Yeah, I remember though. I was so bummed out when that happened because I thought, yeah, this is it, man. This is my ticket. No,
Yeah, I mean, it was
not for
epic. There
you.
was like a bunch of my mates were kind of freaking out because that's all they knew and had been doing for years and had to quickly kind of start to pivot. I mean, I guess the writing was on the wall for a bit just because of the way it had to be used. And then, mobiles were coming out and there's no way they would render them. So, yeah, I mean, the signs were kind of there. But it was definitely a huge. I remember it was huge when that started happening. Like people were freaking out, and I think our team went from like 10 flash devs down to like 3 pretty quickly.
Wow, the good old days.
Yeah,
Good old days, man. That guy, the gentleman you were talking about, that was like coding in one color. That's probably because he probably started back in the basic days when there was Commodore 64s and VIC
yeah,
20s.
yeah,
He was probably no colors.
yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah, I mean, it just blew my mind. It was so cool, and it's still similar. Like my kids see what I'm doing, and they're like watching me in this code editor, and like, and then I'm showing them the result on page. It's still for those that don't know much about it. They just it's weird, kind of seeing all this code that outputs this web page.
yeah, it blows my mind, but I guess it really shouldn't because I mean, let's face it, that's what video games are,
Yeah,
right? Like, so it really shouldn't surprise me at all. But it's it's cool. It's cool to see it used this way. And what you've done, the little extra, the interactiveness on these earlier pieces is just that's dope. That's crazy. So a lot of this animation that's overlaid on some of these pieces here, like I'm looking at one of the GN pieces, 1212, I think it is. But so are you creating? You're creating these pieces with AI, and then you're using Photoshop or
Okay, so those, yeah, so
it's
the gene pieces, yeah, because some of them are images, but there's a few that are video, uh, and they were all just. I know, I was just mucking around. Like I kind of set myself a challenge for a little while. I knew I couldn't sustain it forever, but I was trying to make it a GN piece every day and using that to try and play with a different style and kind of learning, the right prompts for different styles in AI. And I was just tweeting them. I tweeted Jen and put the piece up, and I don't know. There was a couple where people were asking if I was going to mint and wanted to buy it, and so I thought, what the hell? I'll just mint it, and I think I put the if it was a still image, I put it for like 0.75, and it was a video, I put 1.5, and I only did 3 to 5 editions, but they'd all go like instantly, which I couldn't believe. And so I did those, but yeah, the video ones, well, they're all AI created pieces, and then the video ones I've been using this app. It's actually a really cool app called on the phone. Um, it's called Motion Leap.
yeah, I use that.
Yeah, so those all
Yeah,
all
it's
the
a
video ones are made with Motion Leap. Those GN
and
ones.
I totally I say that I use it, but I haven't actually used it in probably about 5 months. But I used to do a ton of tweets with it, and it would blow people away. They're like, "How'd you do that?" Well, I'm a coder. No, just kidding. Maybe I could. It's a neat app. I
It's
use one
crazy
of the.
how simple it is. Like it's, I mean, and you got to know, I guess, because it's easy to get carried away. You got to, it's almost less is more. You got to know which effect to use and which one works where, because
Well,
there's so much in it that you could easily just kind of throw into a piece.
yeah, no, and that's. I guess it's just like AI, right?
Yeah,
It's a tool to
yeah,
use, and you got to know how to use it to create something out of it. Because yeah, you could definitely go overboard with it. Like my eyes got very sore many nights in a row mucking around with that. Their whole suite of products is pretty decent. Maybe we'll get a sponsorship or something here. No, just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. Shout out.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We'll have to watch the numbers. If their numbers go up after this show tonight, our 1 million shadow band users are probably buying it right now. Okay,
I'm looking at it right now.
it's really cool, dude. I forgot all about it. In fact, my phone has probably actually deleted it out. But I use one of their other programs too. They make some pretty neat programs. They definitely figure out the ways to get their money out of you. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
they
and
do.
it's a very versatile program. Like it's like it's simple, but it's like you can be so creative with it. Like I found very easy
Yeah,
to be creative
yeah. I
with
mean,
it.
I love it.
It's
So yeah, I think
neat,
I've used it on a
neat.
couple other things. I've released one piece actually. I'll try and pin it, but I did my first piece where I sort of combined actual AI art and sort of coded interactive piece. Let me just bear with me while I find it and pin it. But it was for the Tez Wizards event. And I created a visual in AI, and then I used Leap Motion, is it, or Motion Leap, whichever one it is,
Yeah.
to add animation to it. But I did a few kind of variations. I think I did 3 different videos, and then I put them into a HTML element and kind of overlaid videos, and then added interactivity, and you sort of interact with the wizard to, well, like the stories to bring about his magic. But yeah, the video kind of plays in the basic loop until you interact with it, and then as you interact, it sort of plays through the videos and blends from one to the other, and you get this effect where it feels like you're helping the wizard with his magic, and it starts snowing more. But that was the first kind of one I'd done of that.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's
so it's
killer.
like interactive video, I guess.
I just downloaded. I just put that app back on my phone. My phone erased it. Anyways,
Yeah, it's a cool one.
yeah, yeah. No, it's fun stuff. It's good. It's really neat. It's really neat to hear creatives. People, the stuff that people use. Right. I mean, that kind of brings us into now, like with AI. You're using AI.
Yep.
How much pushback? How much pushback do you ever personally see or feel? I mean, obviously we all see it. It's all over Twitter about people saying it's not real. Like, do you personally get pushback from people?
Yeah, no, I haven't personally had any pushback, although I'm not in any like big art circles or anything like that, but I definitely see it and have been in spaces where it's a conversation. I run with Vinny and Lily and Anna. We run a AI kind of focused space each week, and we've definitely talked about it in there. But I haven't copped any myself really. I've just seen the different arguments on it, and it is what it is. It's a new thing. It's shaken up. It's shaken up a lot of space, and it's not going anywhere. So, and I think a lot of the arguments are going to not age well, just like they did with when photography came out and other big changes. So, I embrace it. It's definitely an awesome tool, and just because you can easily spit out stuff and not everything is great doesn't you can't just say it's trash. But then there's the whole arguments of the copyright and that for the models, training of the models and that, which is a whole other debate. But yeah, I mean, I've loved using it. It's opened up a whole new world for me, and I'm definitely running with it.
That's good to hear, as people should. Nobody should be deterred by anything like that. That's like saying because you use Motion Leap, well, you use Motion Leap,
Yeah, just
right?
press a
Like,
button.
no,
Yeah,
you still got to be creative. You still got to know where to put it and what you're putting it on and how you want to use it, right?
yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Um, So I got to get to. I've been wanting to ask right off the bat, but the sushi collection that you've got going on.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Well, I mean, it's called Sushi Love. I love sushi. That's like Japanese food is our whole family's favorite. So the four of us. And I actually started making sushi when COVID hit and we were going to go into lockdowns because we would always go out for sushi like all the time. Just loved it. Been to Japan a couple of times. And so, when we found out we were going to go into lockdowns, like, hell no, I'm not going out without sushi for, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I mean, we had the longest lockdowns in the world here. So I'm like, I'm just going to start making it. And
ordered some rolling mats off Amazon. And
yeah, I ordered a bunch of stuff. There's a cool online Japanese grocer here in Melbourne. I ordered stuff off there. And then there's a awesome fish market just nearby. I think about 5 or 7 Ks away. And when we were in a harsh lockdown where we couldn't go beyond, I think it was like 5 Ks from our home, they were doing delivery. So that helped. And then beyond that, I was going down there. But yeah, I figured I'm going to start making it. I started buying fish, watching videos and just started practicing. And I started making it every single week. And I pretty much haven't stopped. It was kind of the best thing to come out of the lockdowns for me and the family. And so there are weeks now where I don't, but most weeks I'm making it on the weekend. It's a whole thing for me. It's like a whole day of going down and getting the fish, cleaning the rice, cooking the rice, letting it cool, slicing up the fish, making the sushi rolls, sitting down to eat. It's kind of therapeutic.
well, and sushi in itself is very artistic,
Yeah, and that's what I was just about
right?
to say.
So,
And that's why I mean, like the creative, even through cooking, definitely with sushi making, it's very few simple ingredients. You can't really hide anything. So you got to get it right and simple flavors. But I absolutely love it. And so, of course, I'm going to try and do some stuff in AI related to sushi. And I was playing around with all sorts of different art styles. I've actually got a whole other set that's a lot less
but
minimalist that I'll
why?
probably mint elsewhere. But yeah, these when I was messing around with different styles and prompts, I started getting this set and sort of started honing this style, which I just absolutely loved. Because, like I said, I'm a massive minimalist fanboy. Although I love all different styles, but these sort of minimalist Zen sculptures were just awesome. And so once I sort of unlocked doing that, I just ran with it and minted it. And I don't know, I love them visually. They're cool.
Well,
Why do some of the like there's like plates, I guess I'm gonna call them, that some of the sushi sitting on, and they look like flattened corn dogs.
They do actually.
Have you not noticed that in it?
I didn't before, no,
That's
but they
that's
do.
not on
And they're
purpose.
kind of impossible too. Like someone challenged me to try and replicate these real sushi, but I'm like, hey, there's no way I'm doing that.
You're like, yeah, the physics don't work on AI generated art. Like, there's
Yeah, yeah.
no when you start training it with physics so that we can get some more if we want realism.
man. So with the sushi thing now, I'm just wondering. A big question that's burning in my head now is, do you sleep?
Yeah, somehow I find sleep somewhere. No, I get a good amount of sleep. I'm actually more of a night owl, but it's pretty hard to do that when you work full time, when you're a father of teens and you got to do school drop offs and pickups um, but that's part of the beauty of being able to work for myself and work from home is. But yeah, I definitely get plenty of rest. I think most nights. It's just my day. My
Good.
days and evenings are full. Actually, most evenings I'm out driving my son to basketball. It's like 6 nights a week. 6 days out of the week, he's got something to do with basketball on.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a big commitment. Is he going to go pro? Are we going pro? We got to get him
he'd
pro.
love
Let's
to go
go.
pro. I don't know. That's really on him. He's got all the opportunity. I mean, it's up to the individual to. I can't give it to him, but I'm driving him everywhere. That's for sure.
Say all you can do is be what he needs for support,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
driving
Yeah.
there, get him what he needs.
Yeah. So he does
Make
he
sure
does
he's
like
getting the
three
workouts.
he plays on 3 teams, 3 matches a week, 3 trainings a week. It's hectic, but he loves it, and it's good for him. He's got great friends through it, as well as the fitness and just the passion he's got. So I've never pushed him into it or forced him. I kind of encourage it because I love basketball and we play together. But every season I tell him it's up to him if he wants to continue, and he has, and he's kind of thriving, which is really cool.
That's badass. It's amazing what parents do. The sacrifices they make, like 6 nights a week driving. Like here in Canada, it's hockey,
Yeah.
right? And kids that get into hockey, man, it's like they start in August. Like they start summer camps in like August, and then they go
And
all the way
it's 3,
through.
4 a.m. ice times, right?
Oh yeah, well they get very late. They definitely do. Especially as you get older, you can have 11 o'clock ice times as well. But that's a different story for a different space.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be
100%.
glad
Wow.
it's basketball and not, like swimming or something where I have to get up at like 4 or 5 a.m. I can't do that. So basketball is good. It's like, sort of evenings. Latest game, he's probably done by a bit before
Basketball's
11.
a cheap sport, too.
yeah, exactly.
Very inexpensive to play.
And I enjoy watching it, so it helps.
That's a good point.
As compared to a golf or a hockey.
For sure. Although the bloody sneakers add up. All the fancy sneakers
right?
they want.
Get you. That doesn't matter what sport you play. Oh, you just need sneakers? Well, we better make these sneakers a couple grand then.
Yeah, we better make them real expensive.
Better make these really expensive.
We're getting all our money from.
It has to equal out to a goalie gear, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. They definitely try to. The companies know what they're doing.
Absolutely. That's the reason my mountain bike tire costs more than a tire I put on my vehicle.
Yeah. Back to the sushi, and I know some other Japanese inspired art in your collection there. Do you have any ties back to Japan, or you're just a fan of the culture and the country?
No actual ties, just a huge fan. Like I said, I've been there twice now, and the last trip, first time we went, like I was actually a fan anyway. We love Japanese and I love the culture and everything. But the first time I went, I actually won a trip to Japan, like all expenses paid, accommodation, spending money and everything. So that was awesome because we were wanting to go. It was me and my wife at that time, and she was pregnant with our first son. And we were hoping to be able to go. We just couldn't get funds together, and we're like, okay, well, now we're going to have our first kid. We're going to have to wait until they're a bit older. And some competition came up, and I entered it here online. It was like one of the ones, a travel show on TV, and I got the call that I'd won it. And I think she was just before the cutoff of not even being able to fly anymore, 20 weeks or whatever it was.
And you didn't know who was putting on the competition? People actually win things like that?
I know, right? Yeah.
Promoters?
No, I didn't know.
Wow.
People win that, but I won it. It was cool. So we had a week there. Like I said, the flights, accommodation, we had spending money. It was awesome. So we made the most of that trip, and we said, as soon as the kids are old enough to enjoy it themselves as well, we're going to go back. We did. We went in 2019. It was just before COVID. Earlier that year, we went, the 4 of us, and we were there for like a month. It was amazing. We're already waiting to go back again. So I just love the country, love the culture, love the food, love the people. A lot of stuff about
It's always someplace I've always wanted to go, but been intimidated by. It's one of those countries that I'm really intimidated to travel to.
Yeah, it's so
I don't know
good.
why. Just language barrier. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, I don't
I'm not
speak
big on
Japanese.
sushi or seafood,
I know a few words here and now, enough to just say a few things while you're there. But I definitely don't speak it or anything. It was definitely not an issue.
See, it's because you've got that dope accent, and everybody's like, "Oh, we'll talk to him. He sounds cool."
Aussie guy,
right? Everybody loves an Aussie guy, like 100%.
Maybe.
Did you just tell me to fuck off, man? Hey, let's go have a beer.
They like beer too, which is good.
I believe it's my uncle who's told me the story, or who is it that I know that it's gone? It has to be my uncle. He's the only one that travels like that. But yeah, Japan, like he likes it because it's like a calm. It's not a calm culture, but it is a calm culture. right? Like they obviously have cities and the hecticness, and they're very disciplined with work and stuff like that. But like he's like they're so zen. He's like when they're home and they're with their family, like they're just zen.
Yeah,
which is so cool.
yeah. I mean, as crazy big as the cities are, we've got nothing like that here. I mean, I guess you guys have, New York or whatever you might have up your way. Like Australia, the biggest city in Australia is not even close to that. So going into Tokyo, which is crazy big and busy, but it's still, yeah, like you said, it's still quite peaceful and calm and so clean. Everyone's really polite and really safe too. Even our kids, they're younger then, preteen, tweenies or whatever they were. Even they just said they felt safer just walking around than they did back home, which was really cool. And you could lose your wallet on a train or in a taxi or whatever, and you don't even have to worry. You'll know it'll be handed in. You just go and pick it up. People live there. There's millions of bikes, and they're all unlocked. Like no one just. It's just there's no. I mean, crime goes on. I know it, but it's certainly nothing like we see.
That's good to hear that there's still places in the world like that.
I know, right?
Right, for sure. I mean, Canada, we're pretty nice, but we're not that nice. Huh.
Yeah, like I actually happened to ask. My son left his wallet in the taxi, and he was freaking out in it. And in the end of the day, we called up, and they just told us where the depot is, and the guy had it there. Someone who got in a taxi just gave it to him.
So, that's badass.
Yeah,
that's like unheard of.
It's like where?
That's like unheard of.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like, amazing.
What? No, that doesn't happen. That's not a thing that happens.
But
especially when you're on vacation.
Of the culture there. Yeah.
They make good cars. That's why. Discipline, caring about what they do.
I'm not sure what cars had to do with that, but okay, all right.
Well, I'm just saying because
I'll walk on this road with
because
you.
they well. Maybe I didn't know where it was going either, but it's part of their. But I mean, it's part of their respect that they have for each other and that they carries on throughout their lives. Like that's why when they build, when they go to work, they pay attention to detail. It's not like us where it's like, well, I'm off in half an hour, so I'm going to go over and stand up and chat with somebody. And
gotcha.
Yeah. Meanwhile, somebody buys that Ford truck and the wheel falls off or something. I don't know.
I always think of woodworking when I think along those lines because Japanese woodworking is like some of the best, if not the best in the world as far as craftsmanship and things like that.
Well, the joinery's off the hook.
Yeah, and just beauty. Yeah, Japanese woodworking.
Yeah, totally.
If there's anybody listening that doesn't really have a frame of reference, that just Google like Japanese woodworking and joinery. It's amazing. Anyways, okay, so.
See, we get educated on all kinds of things in this space, folks. All kinds of things, right? Like, why not? We just learned something. Everybody's like, there's some people here that are probably Googling how to get a trip to Japan right now. Gonna go. Maybe one of our 1 million shadow band listeners. Sorry, Willie. Go ahead.
No, I was so just like you were wondering about the sushi. I'm absolutely wondering about why and where all the Santa stuff came from. I want to hear about all the Santa Claus.
Well, that was just again just having fun and experimenting. In the lead up to Christmas, there was all the different Christmas events going on, like the Tezos art events and stuff. So a bunch of them were part of that, and just once I started playing around with different Santa pieces, some good stuff came out. So I had one. What do we got there? There's a collection called Twice Upon a Christmas, which kind of just is sort of a bunch of images that are out of a made-up 1960s classic Christmas movie. So that was just playing around with AI photography style and sort of a theme across them all that looked like it comes out of one of those classic movies. So I minted all those. And then the other set, which was the Christmas Bazaar stuff. That was, there's a mix of stuff in there, but a lot of them are sort of what I imagined would be photo shoots of Santa himself, because people go and get their photos with Santa, and usually they're pretty bad. And so I figured, behind the scenes, Santas get their own photos done with their family, but they're amazing. And so I kind of ran with that thought and did different eras and what they might look like with the family. And they kind of have they have this bizarre feel to them because I wanted them to sort of have that not awkward family photo, but kind of that feel, that bizarre feel, which is why I went with Christmas Bazaar. And so there's different eras photos that are on that theme, including a Darth Vader one, which was a funny one.
Christmas Fear. I actually went to. I love Christmas Fear, and I went to it because I was pretty sure that I picked one of these up, but I never did, and I'm so disappointed now.
Yes, and that may have been one of the first things I made in that Leap Motion or Motion Leap app. I was playing around with
that. Was going to be my next
horrors.
question.
I did have a bunch of Christmas horror art, and I decided to only make the one, which was probably the most horrific one, especially with that animation added to it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very mesmerizing. It just brings life to it. Willie, I was going to say that Motion Leap, back in the day when we were in that other PFP project, quite often, that's where I used a lot of my tweets were all Motion Leap.
Okay.
Fun program.
I swear I get confused. There is something called Leap Motion, isn't there? And it's totally different. It's like a gaming thing. Like a controller or something like that. I swear.
It might be right.
Yeah. That's why I get the two confused. Motion Leap and Leap Motion. One of them is the app that you can add animation to your video. I don't know which one.
Somebody's looking at their kid right now and go, "Man, he did that with this thing. What the hell is this?"
Yeah. I'm just going to pin, just while you keep talking, I'll pin another code art piece.
Sure.
Because these old ones get drowned in Twitter. I probably need to highlight them again. But there was a little collection which you can get to from that piece that are called Time, Shape, and Color, and they're all code drawn, and they all use the clock, just like the Uluru one. They use the clock on your computer, so whatever time of day it is for the viewer to influence the piece. And so there's one there that is a clock. It's a bit hard to read, but it's actually a clock. And the other two are just kind of driven by the clock ticking. So they're actually triggered by the seconds or the minutes on the computer. And so they're different for each person that views them because of the time, and then also the colors that are picked at random and randomly generated.
That's just next level. Not only are you collecting a piece, you're basically getting a one of one all the time.
And,
yeah, exactly.
And now you're getting an orologist?
What was that?
I said you're also an orologist?
Orologist. Possibly a rookie orologist. I don't even know what that is.
Always been.
I gotta admit,
orologist is the study of time and clocks. So, like somebody who makes a Swiss watch, right? Pure mechanical Swiss watch.
I mean, I love that.
Make that would be an orologist,
especially in the NFT. Like, I love it. It was the kind of the most accessible, dynamic thing because every computer's got a clock in it, and I can use that to kind of drive something in the art, and it'll be different. So. You're looking at it now and I'm looking at it, and we're definitely going to have different colors, and the rotation is random as well. So where it sits in the rotation, but also the actual shape, because your time is different to my time. So the shapes will be different.
Yeah. And there's a secondhand ticking.
Yeah.
I really love this piece.
And there's a special, I guess, little Easter egg. I have tweeted about it, but, every year at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve, all the circles are full. So that's the only time of the year where all of them are full, because one of them represents the month of the year, and another one represents the day of the month. And so obviously at the end of the year is the only time where they're all going to be full circles. So you get this nice composition of just like 5 circles kind of layered.
Who's midnight? GMT, my local midnight?
The viewer. So my midnight
midnight
at New Year's Eve, and yours for you at New Year's Eve. And instead of the seconds ticking away, because otherwise you'd only see that for a short instance, I kind of hold that composition for the first full minute after midnight, and then it continues ticking again.
Dude.
So that's a little Easter egg hidden in there. Yeah. Actually, I'll
That's
find the
freaking
tweet.
awesome.
There, here's the tweet of what it looks like. I'll just pin that one
See,
so you get that.
but now I need to use that as my actual watch face on my
Okay,
Apple
so
Watch.
that one, similar to the other ones, if you click on the CDN or IPFS link, you can actually download images. And I've actually when you move your mouse around, you get a menu, but I've pre-configured different sizes. There is a watch wallpaper size that it'll generate for you, or a mobile wallpaper, or a desktop, or the square image.
But it won't be on an Apple Watch. At least I don't think it.
No, it won't be a live widget. That'd be next
Live,
level.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, come on, you're slacking, Ben. Okay, that's it. This is over. Good night, everybody. Bye. Just kidding.
No,
Dude.
that's on Apple's
If I was
side.
able to, I would.
Yeah,
But there's a whole bunch of stuff that
Maybe on
prevents that.
maybe on an Android watch it'll work. I don't know.
Yeah, anything goes on Android, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah,
They're like the
Wild West out there, man.
the horror.
They're still running Flash.
It's true, right?
But yeah, there's that piece, and then if you look in the collection, there's another. I mean, I love all of those. They're all again just that geometric stuff. But there's one there called Cubic Count, which was like the research on doing that one kind of did my head in, because it's cubes and they sort of sit in, I guess, what looks like 3D space. But this is like a 2D drawing app, so it's not even drawing cubes. Like I'm drawing each face, and then because of where they sit, it looks like they're cubes. But the math of kind of putting them on those planes and stuff was, I was reading a bunch of articles and tutorials on that isometric layout, which some games are built.
It's simple isometric.
Yeah, but it's fine if it's, if you have a 3D space and you have a cube shape and then you use the planes to do it isometrically. But like I said, they're like each cube is really 3 rectangular or square sort of polygon shapes that I'm positioning in the right place to look like a cube. So with each one, I'm drawing 3 shapes and putting them in the right spot to kind of look like it's stacking. So it was a mess with my head a bit, definitely. But that was a fun one. And then it just uses, each as a clock on the computer ticks away at a second, it reveals a new cube. But the composition is random as well as the color. And then every minute it resets. Or if you click it, it'll change.
Dude.
That is so cool.
Man, I'm floored. Had no idea. It's just one of the things I love about doing this space and talking to people. Like, look at this stuff that's unfolding before our eyes, Willie. Like, who would have known?
I thought we were just gonna have a fun little AI chat.
Well, I just thought, I was like, oh, look at these GIFs. Aren't they nice?
It's so hard it's so hard to convey it too. Like
sure,
even just in a tweet thread or whatever. Because I mean, as you know, people don't read. It's just the way it is. You kind of scroll and you check out the picture and it's cool and you might read a bit. It's just the way it is, but it makes it really hard to convey what's in these pieces, what's actually in them, what they do.
Absolutely. Well, I hope some of our listeners tonight and some of our listeners tomorrow that re-listen to the recording, I hope that they all make sure that they're jumping on Ben, because, dude, like I say, I didn't look too much into it. I know I've seen your stuff and I pay attention to your tweets and everything, and I've seen what you're doing, and I've just the next level stuff. Like, once again, a creative, not just an artist.
Appreciate it.
It's dude.
Because it's like old PFPs are like generative, right, to a degree, but it's like they're all drawn on different layers, and then the layers are just randomized as to what you're going to get on each. How it's stacked, but and then you have FX hash, which is kind of its a similar form and kind of a mix, but then this is just levels. Like, what you're doing here is levels above all of that.
It sort of takes that and runs.
It's really amazing. Yeah.
And that
as we would say in the 90s,
this is nerding.
That Board Joe one I pinned earlier with the sort of ape, the polygon, low poly ape. That one, I collaborated with Crypt King, who's an awesome guy in the community, and a great artist as well himself. But he's a big Bored Ape guy, and so that was kind of the inspiration for that piece. And again, that one I used AI to generate the reference image, which was a low poly ape, and then I drew it all with code. So again, that one's not got any images. But that, a lot of the mechanics are kind of the way I set it up is very much like the way we would do PFPs, where you have, he's got different traits. Like he's got the hat, he's got the sunnies, he's got that little strip that's on the hat, and then you've got the music, which is made up of, I believe it's 4 tracks. You've got like a lead instrument, the bass, the drums, and then like a background noise, and it's all lo-fi style. And then I basically do what happens with a PFP is you have these traits, and then you kind of just randomly pick a combo, and you get that set. So you might get a green hat, and also he comes in a few different shades of color himself, and so it just randomly shows one of those, and you can click and get a new combo. But you can use the menu, and you can actually specify which ones you want, including the different music layers, and you get a different piece of music. But it's kind of generative music because it'll randomly pick a bass track, it'll randomly pick a drum track, and it'll randomly pick a lead instrument. You get a song, and you click it again, and you get another different kind of song. But because they're all the same tempo and in the same key, they all just work together. It doesn't matter which one you get. But I think I did the math on it, and because of all the different options, there was some ridiculous, like in the tens of thousands of possible combinations when you put them all together, like the music and the visuals.
That's insane.
That's fucking wild.
Is anybody else doing generative music like that? Has anybody else done that?
I've no idea. Like some of the stuff I do, I do see and get inspired by, but honestly, like since doing the Uluru one and actually pretty much all the pieces, I'm just kind of on my own, just coming up with ideas and seeing if I can build it. So I don't even know. I didn't look or see if anyone was doing it. I know I had and I'd minted a FX hash piece that was generative music, but the actual music itself, like the sounds were generative, which was a totally different thing to kind of what I'd done with this piece. But other than that, I wasn't kind of looking at going, oh, that'd be cool. We were just building out this, the visual thing. And then, cause I tinker with kind of producing music as a hobby and it's something I enjoy. I thought I'll do some music for it. And, I like lo-fi, and so CK was, he also liked that style, and I just thought, all right, I'm going to try and see if I can do generative kind of music tracks, and just ran with it.
That's very cool. That's kind of, even me trying to think about that, that's a big thing to wrap your head around, making sure that they would all work together no matter how they were put together.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the thinking, I guess.
That's just math.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Math and well, like I said, I had to make sure they were all the same tempo and in the same key. And then,
Oh, do we lose him?
That's what I was just wondering. Just kind of faded out.
Fade out. He's on the other side of the world. He's on the other side of the sun.
And through what
there's back.
A lot of that. The call was coming through. A lot of that thinking came from building out that PFP project where you have this list of all these different traits, and you got to make sure they can all go together. It's not music, but you're preparing artwork and making sure that all the layers work and where they sit in the stacking order, so that when they're flattened, they work. And so it's that same kind of thinking. That's what I was saying. It was very much like the thoughts that go behind a PFP project, but I just kind of did it in a generative piece, and then added music in the mix.
Yeah, I just made it a generative piece. Oh, and I added music, and man, I guess we'll never.
So I'm trying to pack as much as I can into each piece.
Yeah. And that's wicked, man. And like people got to know, and like you said, it's hard to get it across in tweets and stuff like that. That's where, hopefully spaces like this, people are paying attention and listen to this, and like me, like I've been clicking on these things as you've been telling them, and I'm like, oh my god, like I've fallen in love with this stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, even the thumbnail, like I really find it annoying because I can't even convey it in the thumbnail. I have to do a sort of static, jumpy little GIF, and it doesn't quite capture it, what the actual piece is either. And a lot of the times the thumbnail is what kind of invites people in to click through. So there's that challenge too. I'd love to be able to have video thumbnails, so when I do a tweet, I try and record the piece. Even that's not quite the same, but at least it's closer. But obviously we can't do that as a thumbnail yet. And I can't have a fancy like I could take a video recording and turn it into a GIF, but then there's like the file size restrictions, and so I can't even do that. So I resort to a sort of static jumpy GIF and hope it's enough.
Have you looked into unlockable content?
I have, yeah. I have
I don't
to
know if that might be a way around it
for
to maybe solve that.
yeah, but I mean that's
Well,
more the kind of what you get by owning the piece, the unlockable content. But I've done a couple of things using Dark Block and Locked.io, I think it's called. I've gone blank. For a couple of
yeah,
the
I think
pieces I
that
own,
sounds
and
right.
then if you go there, you can kind of download. I think I did the music track in the Seascapes one. You could download that file. I think I did another one over on. I did the one on Ethereum. That's a video piece, but it was 20 to 30 different AI pieces that made up that video, and I give them all as images in downloadable content if you buy the piece. So I have played with that, but it's a bit different, yeah.
Playing with pieces, or as playing with pieces here. I'm gonna stop playing with the heart. It's the hearts. It's the hearts that I literally have them open on a separate window on my screen, and I'm just pissing around with them.
It's fun, hey. Pam, who's here? Hey, Pam. Pam said it's like like the old little ball pits when you're a kid, and you jump in and they all sort of move away and around. It's like playing in a ball pit of hearts.
Absolutely. Watch out for the pointy end. The piece that you made for the Wag Me Wine contest, the wine label contest.
Yep.
I mean, that one, I really would have loved to have seen that on an actual bottle of wine and have it on my rack. It would have been really awesome. That was a killer piece that you designed.
Thank you. Yeah, I was super happy with that. I want to actually print that one. I mean, we're big wine fans in our house too, so I may actually do that and just put it up. But yeah, I was super happy with that one. Actually ended up with, I think three or four really strong pieces. They're all totally quite different to each other. When I was trying to figure out what to do for the wine label. And just showed it to a bunch of different people and got feedback, and that one seemed to come out on top every time, so I ran with that one. But I held on to the others. I was actually going to mint them, but then I haven't, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll hold on to the next one. I don't know. But yeah, that one, yeah, I mean, it just really captures. I was kind of inspired by, and we've probably all seen them, but those the photographs of wine kind of being poured into a glass and the splashing around. I kind of wanted that, but more of a not being poured, like the actual grapes exploding. But that was a reference for the style, the visual style I was trying to capture.
Yeah, it's absolutely a dope piece. Yeah, that would be really nice to have hanging on a wall. And I just realized my computer must be playing tricks on me because I'm logged into Object, but it says I don't own any of those as well. But I do know for sure I own some of those because I bought them. But yeah, and I definitely wouldn't burn them all. Got to keep one.
Got to keep one.
Yeah, dude, it's a sick piece.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm really, really happy with that one, and thank you to everyone that collected. There was a bunch that sold, which was really cool. Not enough to win. I'd had zero chance of winning. That was like epic to try and catch that winner. But it was a great experience. It was cool fun. I love doing those little contests and events. It gives me something to kind of focus on, like in terms of trying to create something. And yeah, like I said, it allows me to experiment with different styles and see what I can create.
Is your do you prefer when you have somebody giving you ideas to create, or I mean, obviously you create out of your own imagination.
Yeah, no, I like
lot.
both. I mean, like you said, I definitely have ideas that I'll try and see if there's anything in there, and then maybe it's a one-off thing, or maybe it's a collection I can flesh out. But at the same time, in between that, I do like these events for something that maybe I wouldn't think of, or I can use to challenge myself. And then I just kind of enter them, not really thinking I'll win, but I've learnt that just kind of participating in the events, gets you a bit of exposure, gets you exposed to other artists that you may not. I've met plenty of people and followed new artists and collected great work through plenty of contests. And well, not even contests, just little challenges and events that we get on Twitter.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's why you're here. That's how we found you.
Yeah,
Just like
there
that.
you go.
And you got a cool bunch of people that are your collectors and your homies that kick around in your area too. We know quite a few people in your world. I guess it is a small world. Willie and I were talking about that today. I think when Juliet accepted that offer that he had put out there, and I was like, oh yeah. Well, it just so happens I've just been talking to her today randomly. It's funny. It's funny how the world works like that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
100%.
The Tezos community is awesome.
Yeah.
They're just so good. Everyone I've met in the Tezos community and gotten to know has just been so cool. And for me, it was definitely a big breath of fresh air coming across from a totally different world, being in PFPs and that kind of NFT over on Ethereum, and that is definitely, I wouldn't say night and day, but a massive difference.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we both noticed that as well. It's why we kind of mostly live in Tezos now and don't do much on ETH. And
yeah, it's so tough. Like some people that we've had, some of our friends of the space and artists that we've had on, it's just I want to go back. I want so badly. I want some of the pieces, but it's like, well, my ETH wallet's been empty, and I like leaving it like that. I kind of don't exist in that world anymore. But a lot of people are migrating that way again.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have pieces on ETH. Did you say that?
So yeah, I minted a couple of pieces on ETH. Like I'm trying to explore more than just the Tezos blockchain. So I figured, ETH was the obvious one. So I minted a couple on there. I actually minted more. I minted a bunch on Foundation, but they were pretty niche and they just kind of sat there. So I actually burnt them all and cleared out my Foundation because I have a collection that is coming out on Foundation that I'm really looking forward to. And my friend Vinny here introduced me to Artano, which is on the Cardano chain that I haven't minted on yet, but I've joined up and I'm going to mint something on there too. And reading up on ordinals, hoping to do something on the Bitcoin chain. But yes, I'm actually going to just pin. I think most people that my friends have seen it, obviously, because I've been tweeting it more recently because it's coming out hopefully in a couple of weeks. But I'm doing a Foundation Drops collection of some really cool art, like a new style that I've been exploring. Let me just find.
Absolutely. Pin away. Just wanted to, and thank everybody who's popped into the space, the newcomers that have popped in, and the 980,000 shadow band listeners that are listening now as well. Of course, we got Pamela in here, NZBR, Juliet, Fendel, Block Chung, Dennis or Denise. Sorry, I can't see your PFP, so I may go either way there. Lyat, Pippi, and Hind. Thanks, folks, for coming out. And I do know that we do have people that definitely are listening who aren't showing up because I have some of them messaging me right now, as per usual. Not Butternut, but 975,000 of our shadow band listeners. They're all like, we're here.
Yeah, awesome thing. All my friends here listening in, thank you. Leah, Vinny, Pamela, Hind, Juliet, Denise, everyone. So I just pinned a few tweets that have some of the artwork for this collection that's coming out, which is the Pimini.
Oh, cool.
Thing I've created, and they're like an otherworldly species that have paint pigment in their DNA, which is why they look the way they do. And so I've got a collection of 30 of those dropping on Foundation early next month.
all one of ones.
All one of ones, yeah. All one of ones. It'll be a blind mint. But I've got some tweets and actually putting together a little trailer video, so you'll get to get a sneak at what they look like. But those tweets definitely contain ones that'll be in the collection. And
Yeah, I think I read you had a thread that you put out yesterday or
Yes.
on Sunday about that. Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, so that was a thread explaining the process, which actually, so that PFP collection I was talking about, our Everyday Sloths, I've actually start with them as the seed, which is kind of a brand new way to use that art and end up with these awesome results that have kind of been influenced from those images to start with.
Interesting.
This is very cool stuff. I like it. I was just going to.
They'll make some good PFPs. I think some cool art sort of PFPs. They've got that look and feel and the composition.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to. Pamela has requested. I'm going to bring her up because I believe I've talked to Pamela on the side. I would like to have her on someday, but I'll.
Yes, definitely do.
Oh, she went back down as a listener. All right then. You're more than welcome to pop up if you want. I'd like to take this time for sure. If there's anybody out here listening, if you got any questions for Ben, if you want to come up and ask, you feel free to do so. More than welcome. Because it's nice to have some outside voices coming in. Sit back and listen every once in a while. She's
this has
back.
been fun. Thank you for inviting me. It's great chatting. I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the time you've given me.
Absolutely,
Thanks.
Sorry, Willie, I cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, thank you for coming and hanging out with us, and and giving us your time.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Hey, Pamela, how are you?
Good afternoon, wee dotes. God, you're doing a great wee job there, so you are.
Hey,
You're doing a
Pam.
grand job. This is my brother from another mother, my wee Ben, the big-brained Ben, co-crafter, code artist, creative. Also, he's my dev helpline. He is fucking awesome. And I just want to thank you two gents for, shining the spotlight on this man. One of the kindest, most generous people in Web3. Like he will do anything for anybody within reason. People just calm your jets. He's just one of the best humans, and it's the truth. And he's still stuck the course, and that's what I say to everybody: just stay the course. And we have not yet seen the best of Ben Kanizay. I'm telling you now, the journey that he's on, this foundation drop with Epiphany, it is just that point of view. This is a thought leader in the space. This is somebody who's pioneering change, pushing the envelope, and being a nice human at the same time. My God, I wouldn't be here without Ben. He helped me with the corals. He also has been like a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and everything else in between. And we have formed a friendship that will last forever because of the type of person he is and such a talented artist. I begged Ben to continue with his art, to bring his art to the fore, because he was focusing very much so on the dev side of things and the coding and helping everybody in the space. I mean, there's projects out there that would not be exist right now if it wasn't for Ben saving the day on the 11th hour when they were struggling. He would jump in, and that's the type of selfless, generous person he is. And a lovely wee daddy too, running about the countryside with his son and the basketball. He's just a flippin' legend. If we didn't have a Sir Lawrence a lot, I would have a Sir Ben Kanizay, you know what I mean? But we can't have more than one Sirs, Ben. You have to wait for your knighthood. But it's coming.
No, we can't. That's fine. I'm good with that.
He's awesome.
You're too kind.
He is awesome. And he hasn't started. I mean, we've just seen the tip of the iceberg. And I want to give you flowers too, both of you, for taking the time out, shining the spotlight on this very humble, shy man. Because sometimes I say to him, he's boring as batshit when he talks all these techie stuff. But you've had the patience of a saint. Isn't that right,
See, I
Ben?
was super hesitant earlier. Yeah. See, it's because of Pam. I go into Pam spaces and I just get all nerdy and everyone just
That's it.
falls asleep.
We do. I have stick pins in my eyeballs. But he is awesome, awesome, and he plays down how good he is, and that's the God's honest truth.
Man, if everybody in this room doesn't feel warm right now and fuzzy about Ben, I don't know what the hell to say. That kind words times infinity right there.
Yeah, Pam, you're the best.
Ben makes it very, very easy.
Yeah, I like the nerdy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of that, it's the keystone to all of our spaces. We like to talk to the artist, and we want to hear from the artist in the way that the artist wants to talk about their art or whatever they talk about. It's the natural way. I find too many spaces try to steer people away and be too like fancy dancy, like we're on Entertainment Tonight or some talk show, or whatever. And I'm not down with that. I don't want to listen to that. I maybe we would lose a few listeners if like every space was nerdy. But I guess it's they're always nerdy in any way.
They're just all nerdy in a different way. Yeah, we nerd out on different things.
Hell yeah. And we get educated.
We get real nerdy on glass and lasers and paintbrushes and paints and all kinds of different stuff. So
I can't. It's good because I can't even get nerdy at the dinner table because like my wife and kids are just like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, I think we all have those people in our lives. They just humor us. When I walk my dog, if I meet up with some people that I know in the dog park, that's what they always wait for it to come. And then I'll kind of stop after a little bit and look at everybody after I'm like blabbing away about whatever NFT or something like that. And I just look at them and I go, okay, I'll just shut up now for a minute. You guys could talk about traffic or something. But everybody humors me.
Well, it's because you're humorous.
Thanks, Willie.
Oh, stop, Willie.
Well, no matter how far you push the envelope, it's still stationary.
Oh, don't start with the dad jokes.
Oh, I love it.
I will never leave.
I couldn't let that one go.
Firing up the dad jokes. You want to go? I love dad jokes. I'm not a dad. Well, I'm a dog dad, but I'm not a dad. But I love dad jokes. Good quality dad jokes are the
Have you seen that? Have you seen conjunctivitis.com? It's a site for sore eyes.
I was just about to write that down. And then it was a joke.
What we need is a generative dad joke.
Ooh.
I could do that. I'm getting in trouble now. I actually have a website, a dad jokes website that I made ages ago, and it's kind of generative. Like it's got a whole library, but the homepage just shows one, and you click refresh, and it randomly picks another one. It's my first. It's a generative dad joke website.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what's the name of it?
It's dadjokedigest.com.
Oh,
Dad Joke Digest.
And it's got a mix of ones I've found and people have submitted, and I probably need to go through and do a bit of modding on it. But it's pretty funny. It started with like a dad joke off kind of contest I was having on Facebook, and ended up with some ridiculous amount of comments in there, and it was a private post. I'm like, this has to be shared. So I kind of used the Facebook API and pulled them all out and threw them into the website, and then opened it up for others to add to it.
Oh, brilliant! I'm not going to go to it now because that'll be it.
It goes forever. There's like 1,000 jokes in there.
Oh, this is great. Oh, this is going to be so great.
At the last job I worked at, there was two of the parts guys that worked at the parts counter. They were dads like through and through, and they had loads of them. And I used to just laugh at them, and they used to come over every morning, first thing in the morning, and tell me these dad jokes. And I'm like, why do you guys come over here every morning? Like, you guys really don't get to tell these. Well, we get to tell them, but nobody laughs at them like you do. Well, you got to appreciate good dad jokes, man. Good dad jokes are just
absolutely. Yeah, I drop them in. Our friend Renee, she's not here today, but she's an amazing photographer and artist. She has a DM group for collectors and stuff, and I'm always dropping dad jokes in there. It's hilarious. But I get them at home, and I know when I've nailed it because if my wife rolls her eyes or goes, or my kids walk away, it's like the perfect joke. I know I've got it right.
Yeah, yeah, right, dude. Oh, I love
Too
this.
funny.
Yeah, I yeah. For not being a dad though, I'm usually pretty good at them. Of course, right now I can't come up with any off the top of my head, but maybe they'll flow out later on. We'll see. I don't know, but
That's where my website's handy.
yeah,
Just have
absolutely.
it, have it
I
on, have it in your bookmarks.
any of 1,000 or so. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's no, I'm not going to it. I'm not going right now. We're
Yeah,
conducting it.
No, you'll get lost for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be like that night that I fell asleep at the end of the space. Except I won't be asleep.
Yeah.
That only happened once.
Funny.
That's good.
No, like when you first started talking about drawing basically with code, I could only think about the early days of AutoCAD, and I'm like, all right, yep. So start line at 3,7, continue line to 3,12. Just drawing line based on code and coordinates basically.
Yeah, I
And like,
remember. You guys might remember. I don't know. Other people you might remember. There was a program, and I think it was on Macs. I remember it in primary school. It was like Logo Writer or something like that. And you had the thing called the turtle, which was like the cursor. It was like a triangle shape, and you'd put in commands like fold 50, right 90, forward 100. But you could also run loops, and you could run a loop, and you'd get these generative drawings. I remember doing that at school. They taught us to do that. It's really cool. You could create some really cool stuff that almost would go up on FX Hash now.
Well, people, I mean, that's people would like look for that kind of stuff these days, right? Like that's creative art, like just like glitching, like glitch art, right? That would be something. If somebody had one of those old computers in that program, man, you betcha. It's probably around. We just haven't seen it yet.
yeah, absolutely.
I do remember that. I vaguely remember that program. I do remember it. Oh, geez, the old days.
Yeah. I've just googled. Yeah, it was called Logo. It was like an educational programming language, and yeah, you could do some really cool, or what you'd call now generative art, like cool graphics, like circular kind of repetitive shapes and triangles, and I mean, you could do that now. Like for example, in that P5 library that I use with the right commands, you could definitely replicate that.
I've never heard of it. I'll have to look up.
It's probably somebody's probably got an emulator for it out there somewhere.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
playing that and Oregon Trail. Hey, Willie?
It's designed in 1967. There you go.
What?
Yeah, Logo programming language. Yeah, look it up. You'll see. It was heaps of fun. I remember doing it. Yeah, and it was called a turtle, like the little cursor thing.
That's crazy. So in like 1967, that would have like operated in a room-sized computer, I guess.
I wasn't using it then.
Well, obviously, no, I wasn't asking. No. No, I was just thinking in my head, like in the 60s, like that would have been like, that probably would have taken a bit of computing power to do.
Definitely 5.5-inch floppies. Probably before
yeah, I reckon.
Floppies.
Trying to see if it says it. There's nothing about the actual computer on there that I can see.
Dude, loading games or any programs back in the day used to be so horrible. Like,
do you remember the Commodore? I remember the Commodore. We had the cassette
tapes,
Commodore 64, the cassette tape, and then you used to like dub the games and it'd play all that weird sound while you dubbed them.
Well, I mean, it still is today on a mobile phone because you have these terrible ads that take up the whole screen that was apparently invented by Ben here. So I don't know. I don't know what's worse.
There was Okay, we didn't always do the takeovers, but I got to admit, if you were trying to read the news site they were on, it's like MSN or whatever, it would be pretty annoying because the whole page would kind of peel off and stuff like that.
No,
Uh,
it's honestly like very cool to look back and be like, wow, you did that? Like it because they were very innovative and they were very ahead of their time at the time and like kept thinking like, where the fuck is this stupid X to close this thing
Yeah.
on
I
a
mean, we
lot of
did
that
some
stuff.
that had games in them. They were like little banners, and there was
Yeah.
like a full little game in them. And the challenge was to keep it under a certain file size too. So your code had to be like really kind of concise and compressed or whatever. But yeah, we did some that had like full games in them. You could enter and win prizes and stuff.
That is very cool to like because I'm like thinking of some of them and being like, wow, you did that? That's impressive.
dude, damn man, like we got a legend on here, super legend.
Yeah, so what do you think what do you think's next from the programming side? What like where do you
Oh
think where
wow.
do you think Web3 goes from here?
I'm not sure.
You
I
could
just
answer
kind
that.
of look. Let me have a think quickly. But like a lot of the actual web stuff moves pretty slow, which is frustrating. Like JavaScript has gotten better and HTML has gotten better, but it takes forever to kind of make its way through it into the standards. And then you have mixed kind of implementations, and that's where you have that. As a dev, it's bloody annoying because you have to test in all the different browsers because they all do different things. It's a little easier now that Microsoft ditched Internet Explorer, but that was such a nightmare.
No, man, I still use that.
Shut up. I
Nope.
don't support that one. So if
I
it
think
doesn't
I
work
think you
for you,
have to be
tough.
you have to be running an emulator or some really old
Nah.
version to actually be able to use that.
No, I stoked
Yeah.
I
Well,
stoked the fire under it.
they only use Edge now, but that's yeah. I mean, I know when we do jobs, it's basically the current whatever the current version of browsers are and two versions back. That's as far as we'll actually support. If it doesn't work on something older than that, then tough. But where it's going, I don't know. I think we're just going to have more of the blockchain integrated better. I think into
In,
web.
into Web 2
Yeah,
more.
but again, that's going to mean web to HTML standards and that are going to have to move pretty quick, and the history is they move very slow. So it'll probably be I don't know how you get around having to use extensions and stuff like that. But certainly, I mean, it's going to it's going to advance, and it's not going anywhere. So I assume we will have more blockchain integrated. I don't know exactly how. I've no idea what to speculate on that, but I mean, I try and stay on top of it, obviously, because of my job. But at the same time, I haven't picked up a lot of the new fancy frameworks and things. I kind of stick with what I'm good at and am able to still create cool stuff for clients and, with the art. But yeah, I think it'll just get better and more integrated.
Okay.
We're seeing, blockchain technology not even necessarily web, although I guess you access the records and stuff through the web, but blockchain technology integrated into a whole heap of stuff. The motor industry is doing it now with all the records for vehicles and servicing and all that. I think there's a couple of manufacturers now that do it, so that it's all there publicly accessible and immutable, which is cool. So I think like that kind of stuff's probably more exciting for me than just the website. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know how much longer I want to keep doing web dev. I mean, I still love what I do. It's been 20, 25 years or whatever it's been, which it blows my mind because, like I said, it was like a week into the course, and I'm like, I think this is what I want to do for a career, and I still love it. So that's cool, but at the same time, I don't know. Obviously, I wouldn't mind doing less of that and more of the fun stuff. But don't we all?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely all.
I mean, we have
Boat there,
a
I
we
think.
actually we have a like it's related, but we have another business. I guess it's a side biz. We're working to flip it on its head so it becomes our main biz because it's I mean, nothing's completely passive, but it's we've developed a bunch of plugins for WordPress. I don't know if you know that platform. It's like for managing websites. We have a handful of premium WordPress plugins to do with forms and stuff, and we've got a little biz that kind of sells. It's like a digital download, so it's a e-commerce website that kind of sells and ticks away, and we just kind of provide support and updates as needed. So it's definitely not passive, but it's a lot less work, and it's becoming more and more a bigger part of our like total business income. So we're trying to see how we can kind of do more of that and grow that product biz and do less sort of hands-on work where, you know, it's labor and you get paid for the labor. There's only so much of that we can do. So that's our current in terms of my day job. That's where we're currently trying to go.
Okay.
Dude, sorry, I think I just laughed into the microphone. I actually pulled up dadjokedigest.com. The first one just made me laugh so hard. Sorry. Yes. I wasn't laughing at you. I was listening.
Told you were going to get lost.
Sorry. No, it was just the one. I just literally opened it up, and the first one that came up was, I'm hosting a charity event tonight to raise money for people unable to orgasm. Don't worry if you can't come. Sorry.
You're in trouble now. You're stuck on there.
It's kind of funny that, you know, you're talking about after being that long in web, you know, doing web stuff. It's like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. It's not fun. And to me, I'm like, oh man, it's kind of a job I want. But I guess
I will continue to do it.
Like I
love it. But let's see.
Well, this world.
I'm gonna talk and keep moving. I've got to get in the car and start going to pick up the kids. But I've got my headphones in, so keep talking. I'll tell you if I actually have to go.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Road trip. How many kilometers we got to go?
I think it's about 10 or 15.
Oh wow, that's a little.
Yeah, distance. It's not close.
Oh, that's crazy.
Kids get chauffeured every day. It's annoying.
Wow. My mom would be like,
way too far to walk. Even on a bike, it'd be a bit far because of it's like highway roads.
Oh, really? Eh? So are you kind of rural, or it's just freeways?
No. Yeah, it's just where we are, and
okay.
the way to get to the school.
Right.
I mean, we're out in the burbs. It's not rural.
For all the Americans listening, just so you know, kilometers are a way of measuring distance like miles.
Yeah, but they're a bad way of doing it.
Simpler.
No, it's not.
It's like too many kilometers to a mile. Weird. And then speed is way too fast. It's like I'm doing 300 kilometers an hour, a mile, or kilometers an hour. It's like, that's only 40 miles an hour. It's not very fast.
It's a little.
See, I get the opposite. I watch movies.
My one wheel does that.
Hey, you're doing 40 and whatever, and I'm like, 40 k's. That's like school zone speed.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't really have a fight. You know, when I talk about temperature, I have a fight for Celsius to Fahrenheit. But really, with the speed stuff, I guess I don't. And the distance, I guess there's no. Although, you know, when you're doing measuring, like, Willie, don't you deal in a lot of millimeters and stuff like that? No, you're building big stuff, right? You do big stuff, so.
Yeah, we're feet and inches.
Yeah,
I'm mostly feet and decimal feet.
Decimal feet.
Yeah, which, you know, means mostly just feet. Like, if it's smaller than a foot, we're within range.
So is a decimal foot, is that something that you use for small foot readings, or is that like something you can use for a large foot length?
I mean, you can use decimal feet for like, you know, 2 inches, 3 inches. So like 3 inches is 0.25.
No,
right?
That's what I mean. Is that it's for smaller foot measurements, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. But it's basically because we don't measure that low a lot.
So yeah, because you're not like not like an engineer that does
200, 300, 400 feet, not 1.15.
Willie's into the big stuff. Big Willie.
Yeah, I deal in miles a lot.
Mm-hmm. Ben, one time we had a friend of ours near run on the space, and she's in Scotland, and I was talking about putting wine bottles in the oven at 350 so that we could take the wine labels off. And then she just stops me. She's like, "What kind of fucking oven do you have that goes to 350 degrees Celsius?" Right?
Exactly. I was thinking the same.
Right. Well, it's like I have to explain. I mean,
Pizza oven.
like here in Canada, we have to suffer between both of it, right? Because America never latched on to the metric system, so we have to deal with everything in both. It's like it's so wacky. It's like pretty much all of our measurements we'll do up here. A lot of people just revert to feet and inches, but we'll weigh ourselves in kilograms, or our speeds in kilometers an hour. It's just
That's messed up.
our
It's too much math.
our stoves are in Fahrenheit, right? Like I've never actually used
As long as you're not weighing thing in stone. Now that is a funky measurement.
I thought you meant stoned, and I was going to say, well, usually I am, but
No, like because then stone, because you can't get it small enough. They use stone pounds. So it's like, well, why not just use pounds at that point?
who uses stone? The English?
The English or something, yeah.
Yeah, there's something, I don't know, because sometimes people here will talk about how much they weigh in stones or something, but I've never ever got it.
No, I've never been big on kilograms for weight either. I don't.
Well, that's the one
Pounds.
that actually makes most sense.
Does it?
Yeah, because of the divisibility by 10. So that one actually makes the most sense.
Same with temperature, though. Temperature makes sense. It's like 0 is freezing point, 100 is boiling.
Dude, that all the time. And actually,
Yeah.
we've had a lot of Americans on this show agree with that.
It's not accurate enough, though.
Not
It's
Willie,
not
though.
accurate enough. No.
What do you mean it's not accurate enough?
Depends what you're
not
doing.
accurate enough.
It depends what you're doing. Like, how accurate do you need to be?
If I'm outside and it's 120 degrees outside Fahrenheit,
you're dead.
I don't want to know that. I don't want it to feel like 63. And then when it gets to 125, it's only 63 and a half. I'm like, no, it's not accurate enough. When you get over 110, a single degree makes a big difference.
Whoever looks at it like 63 and a half, like who would ever say that in Fahrenheit?
I don't know.
It's like, come on,
exactly.
man.
That's you guys. You can see you guys don't even use a half in metric?
No.
In Celsius?
No.
Yeah, that's no. Like I said, when you get over 110, that single and 2 degrees makes a big difference.
No, man.
There's a huge difference between 108 and 112.
I was going to say, once you get up into the 90s, it all just becomes effing hot, right? Like, it doesn't make a difference. Does it really?
Yeah.
You're dying.
There's effing hot, and then there's fuck this. I'm not going outside. And then there's, do I really have to fucking go outside for this?
Oh, Ben. You're in summertime right now, hey?
I am, yeah. Am I still on? I didn't know. I sound like I got rugged for a bit.
No, we got you. You're still good.
We got you.
Cool. Yeah, it's summer here. Beautiful sunny day today, and I swear if it was 27 or 29, I wouldn't know the diff.
Yeah, right.
Still sunny and warm.
That's the way I feel. I agree.
But I was going to say,
well, in Celsius, yeah.
That's the only one I deal with.
Yeah, that'll kill you in Celsius. That's for sure.
The really big one of the big pain in the butts things with me right now is that a lot of American vehicle companies, because I'm a heavy duty mechanic, and a lot of the trucks now that are being built in the States, because they're getting some parts built or some sections built in Mexico, so now they're coming up with both kinds of bolts and nuts on them. So you got to have two kinds. That's the thing. You live in Europe.
It's been that way for years in the U.S.
But the thing is you live in Europe or you live in Australia or wherever, and it's like you need one set of wrenches. Oh no, I'm a mechanic in Canada. In North America, I have to have two sets of wrenches.
Engine is always standard American units, and then everything else, whether it's engine transmission is always standard, and then anything on the frame or basically anything except for lug nuts, even most of the time lug nuts are all metric. Everything else is metric. So everything inside cab is all metric, and then drivetrain is
See,
usually American.
conform. See, conform. Switch over.
Well, it's because we build motors here.
Switch over. They get belted. Well, yeah, it's annoying. Don't like it. Don't like it.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I mean, pick one. And actually, as far as tools and tooling goes, metric makes a lot more sense.
It's kind of cool.
Is it 13 or 14?
Yeah, really. Like, I mean, yeah, I need a 1, 2, 3. Oh, you sure you don't need
Yeah.
a 13/64? A what?
Yeah, an 11/16. No, I don't need an 11. No, I don't want to do math. I don't want to do math.
Exactly, right?
I just want to know what the next size up is.
Oh, here's a good one for Ben. Now that we've just gotten right derailed on this whole conversation, do they have? Do you guys have Robertson bits in Australia? The square ones, like for screws?
I think we call them Allen keys here.
No, because an Allen key has like 6 sides, right? Doesn't it? Or 5, 6, right?
Oh,
yeah.
You're talking about the 4-sided ones? I think. I'm pretty sure I've had some stuff from IKEA.
Right, that would make sense. Yeah. Okay, I was just wondering. It's a Canadian invention. It's a really great screw. Everybody should use it. In the States, I can buy the bits, but I can't buy the screws. I find that entertaining.
That's because we use them as security screws down here. We use them in bathrooms and things like that as security screws. So you can.
There you go. Really? For real?
Absolutely. For real.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. That's why you can't like just buy them. It's actually even hard to buy the bits.
Oh man, they're everywhere up here. They're everywhere in the stores I go to down there across the border. I can always buy the bits, but I can never buy the screws. But in Canada, it was a Canadian invention. It's basically almost everywhere.
Apparently, so was football, and something else, according to a Crown Royal commercial.
Basketball.
Basketball, yes, that's it.
Lacrosse, I think, too, is ours as well. Well, the lacrosse was native, so it could have indigenous, so it could have been both sides of the border, I guess. But
to get back on track, does anybody have any questions for Ben before he absolutely has to get off the call with us here? I'll open it up to anybody who might want to come up and have any questions. If not, we'll just ramble on. I don't know.
Absolutely ramble.
I will have to jump off in maybe 5 minutes or so.
Well, we better get in more of this metric talk then, I think. Well, I definitely got my eyes on you now. I mean, I knew who you were, and I was kind of, definitely following your tweets and stuff like that. And now I'm definitely got to make sure that every time I look closely at a piece, if you release a piece, because you just never know what's going to be going on in there.
I appreciate it. I'll do my best to try and highlight it, but like I said, if people read, then they'll see. But I'll. What have I got? I've got another minimalist little clock-related piece that's just about ready to go. So stay tuned for that one if you like that stuff.
Yeah, I like clocks.
I've been trying to. I think I'm there. I was actually trying to. For the clock, so that it would be a different color every day. But there isn't that many colors, so it's just kind of different shades of, a subset of colors. But I think I'm there. I came up with a whole bunch that I liked and sourced, and then I used ChatGPT to give me a bunch of other unique color codes to fill it up.
Yeah, get all those Pantone color codes.
It's cool though, like, because ChatGPT, I mean, you may or may not know, it does code related stuff too and gives you snippets and that. So because I was using it in JavaScript, rather than just asking it for 100 or whatever it was hex codes, I actually told it how I wanted it, and so then it gave it to me as a JavaScript array, of hex strings, and I could just take it and drop it in.
Dude,
cool. Somebody was telling us that it'll spit out code.
Yeah, I have I made it create a Raspberry Pi set of code couple weeks ago. And who else said that? It was a Denver donkey, I think, that said he was actually using it, the code that it was spitting out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
I think
good
you're right.
for that.
I created that last week. I just said, create me Raspberry Pi script to do this, make it so that I can just put it right onto an SD card, and it popped it all up. I don't know if it works or if it's right, but bet you I'm gonna go dollars to donuts that it's gonna work. We'll see. I guess it looks good. The tools that are available to people now are just amazing. Like this whole AI movement is just, it's, to take the words from Mike Nash, is just wild. Like I've only mucked around with ChatGTP a couple times, but the things that people are doing with it to make their lives easier and a little bit quicker is really, really awesome, to streamline some processes.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people kind of posting and tweeting and in different newsletters of how they're using it in all sorts of ways. It's just that you wouldn't think of, and it's incredible. The new version, which will kind of dwarf this one, will be even better.
Yeah, that's what Google's afraid of.
Yeah, well, they got their own, but they've only announced it, so I don't know how far along they are. Whether they're just announced or whether it's close.
You'd figure Google's has to be pretty good, because basically Google's been getting us to train. I'm sure getting us to train their AI forever now, right? The little things that they make us do, things we click on.
Yeah, exactly. And you think like ChatGPT can't just access live, like you can't give it a URL to kind of scrape or look at, or even an image. Whereas Goo's one for sure will use kind of live data, so you can point it to a website or whatever and scrape something off it or find out more about it or something like that. It'll be like real time.
Interesting.
Man, everything's moving so quick these days. I don't even think that conspiracy theorists even know how to keep up anymore.
That's why they're still stuck on flat Earth. They're like, this one's good. This one's fun still.
There's not much pushback for flat earthers.
Then you go, wait, didn't you fly here to this conference? Okay.
No,
right.
Dude. They've
There
got
you
an
go.
answer for that, too. We're right. Yep. Flat earthers. I do.
We don't discriminate. We don't care if you're flat Earth.
No, we don't. No, we absolutely not. I don't think. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think there's much of any odd thing that we would really, dislike here. But I don't want to say that and have somebody come up with some pretty interesting things. Or, anyways, I don't know. Ben, do you listen to music when you're creating?
I do. Yeah, I love music. So I'm always listening to music. I'm always putting together playlists. Which is why I throw these music spaces. I'll just randomly do these music Twitter spaces, like a bit of a radio, and most of the time it's just streaming kind of what I'm listening to or what I've been listening to. They've been fun. Some of them I kind of open up as a silent shill, and that's been cool too. And then Pam joins me on sort of Sunday night ones, and she's like a singing co-host, so she'll have her mic on and karaoke along, and so they're a lot of fun.
What would you say your average listenership is for something like that?
What do you mean?
You're not paying attention.
Like through the space?
How many people are tuning into that space?
It varies. I've had somewhere it's just a few people. Sometimes it depends how long I run it for. It starts to build up. Some of them have been huge. I did one.
I'm trying to push bits onto something that he brought up to me that he wants to do. And I'm like, do it, man. And he's like, well, I don't know.
I think if it was like a regular show in a slot, maybe that'd make it easier. But I just, the Sunday one's kind of becoming regular. But the rest of them I just kind of ad hoc do if I'm around. So, and then how long I run it for varies, whether I'm just sitting there working away or whether I've got to go. But I think the biggest one was obviously the longest one, and that went for like 6 hours or so through the day. And so obviously it was long, but I think I had over 400 there was over like 400 tweets shared in the
Wow.
nest, and then the space started kind of crashing a bit, got rugged. But yeah, there was a lot of people that came through on that one, like throughout the course of the time. But at any one time, it varies. Like I said, sometimes there's 2 or 3 of us. Marianne, who's here, she's at almost all of them, so it's cool to see. And Hind, and yeah, a bunch of people rock up. And so sometimes it's just a few, sometimes it's just 2 of us, and then other times there's 20. Had times with 20 or 30 people. They're fun though. I'm not engaged in all of them. Like I said, sometimes I'm just kind of streaming music while I'm working away.
Okay.
And then other times I am, and kind of letting people up and clicking through and checking out their links, and sometimes buying the art. Just a bit of fun.
Wow. Cool.
They are kind of cool. I've popped into a few of those, and actually I've popped into a few other people's spaces. It's a neat idea. It's a neat vibe. Grooving in there. Actually, Big Dog Records, I think, is the one. They do a lot of techno, and they were putting them on quite regularly for a few weeks, and I like theirs. They were good on a Friday night.
Oh yeah. The Sunday ones, we've kind of just been picking out an artist that we like, and just doing it all on that one. Like Sunday night with Pam was George Michael. It was like 2 hours of George Michael, and then we did like a Michael Jackson one, and I did a Prince one.
See, until Twitter, until some record company decides, no, we don't like this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, if my account disappears off Twitter, you're gonna know why.
He'll just be one of the million shadow band listeners.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll still recognize you. Because I end up putting these spaces on YouTube after to archive them, right? So that because they disappear off of Twitter after 30 days or whatever it is. And there's been a couple of them where we've played licensed music, like just snippets, and then I'll go to put it on YouTube, and it'll like come back with a pop up, be like, "Hang on, your content's blocked right now." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "What?" Oh, that's right. We played that 5-second snippet of Queen Under Pressure or whatever the hell it was, right?
Yeah.
They're all over it.
Yeah. Which
I definitely don't record the music ones.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, to me, it's not stupid. I understand why these things are there, but also too, when you're playing the music, like you're DJing it, like, if you're not really monetizing it, then you should be allowed to, right? Because you're just encouraging people to listen to the music, to maybe explore the artists that you're playing, is what I believe.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like DJing, or just taking a record player. Oh, it's not a record player. A boombox out to the park or whatever.
I don't know if boombox is any better.
I don't even know.
You mean Bluetooth? Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, my Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, right there.
Bloody hell.
No, it's for sure. That's the way that I look at it. I mean, I know back in the day when I used to DJ, we had to pay. Oh, what was it called? We had to sign up with this organization. It was right.
RIA?
And it was a Canadian. I don't know what RIA is, but
yeah, we have one here too.
Yeah, so it's basically
North Korea.
Oh, funny.
Recording Institute of America or something is RIA, something like that.
Yeah, well, so we had to pay this, right? So that it was basically a canned music payment that you were making every month. Like bars pay it if they play DJ music and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, I see why they were doing it, but where does that money go, right? Like, that money's not going to artists or any. Like, it's they probably say in some way, shape, or form it does. Like, once it gets filtered down to nothing, maybe, but
pennies.
Yeah, that's what I don't. And probably not even, because I mean, really, how much money are they collecting, and how do you split that up between, right? But so I used to hate that. It was an annoying fee that you had to pay, and it was so dumb. I knew lots of people that didn't pay it because like there was nobody actually policing it, right? Like it wasn't like you were playing a wedding and these guys bust in the door, yo. That license, you don't have the license to play that music.
Yeah, exactly. We had the same thing here. It's APRA, APRA or something like that. Chance, I've got to run. I apologize. But thank you so much for letting me hang out and chat, share some art, and just get to know you guys more too.
Thank you very much, man. This has been an absolute pleasure, and you've definitely opened my eyes to what you're doing, and it's not just flashy gift pictures that I thought it was, and it's amazing. And thank you very much for your time. You're more than welcome to come and hit us up anytime you want to chat about something or come and hang out. You got something you want to talk about? You're more than welcome in the space.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah,
definitely,
thank you.
definitely come and hang out. Same time each week, is it?
Yep.
You betcha.
Perfect.
We've doing it almost a year.
All right, I'll definitely be back.
Cool, yeah.
All right, I got to run. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, friends, for hanging out.
Thank you, Ben.
Catch you.
Well, that blew my mind. Here I thought these were just tiny little GIF pictures, and then he starts talking, and I click on it and start reading the write up. Like, holy crap, man!
Well, and I was trying to do my research today, and still, even reading the descriptions wouldn't have gotten that far. I mean, maybe mostly because I'm on my phone, not my computer, so I can't. I couldn't like play with some of them the way they're designed to be played with.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, try to do my research, and then like I was like, all right, coding. I found a bunch of stuff about coding and all that he does and that, and he just went right into it. I'm like, well, there goes all my questions. You just went through all of them. I'm like, I don't know if that's good or bad, whatever. So.
Absolutely. I love how Pamela described him as a shy, humble person. Like, no way, man. I think he comes out pretty solid and strong. There ain't no shyness there. Not in our space, there wasn't, anyways. I didn't think.
No, I didn't get that from him.
I'd like to have her on sometime. I talked to her back when he was on the Wagby Wine space that they hosted when he created that piece for the contest, and I spoke with her after because she was on that space as well, and definitely love to have her on. Man, there's loads of energy there, and she is so pumped about supporting the Tezos and Australian artists. It's funny, she's Irish and living in Australia, I believe, or Scottish. No, it's Irish. Near and Scottish, so she's Irish. Yeah.
She definitely wasn't pure Australian. I could tell it in her voice.
No.
Yeah, there's definitely some extra accent there.
And I just did, as we were doing this space, and I was trying to multitask and answer people's DMs and things like that. So we do have confirmation that on the 7th of March, Juliet will be our guest, who's down there.
Excellent.
In the audience. Yeah. I don't remember when she was up. Do you remember who we were talking to when she came up and spoke with us? It was later in the evening.
I don't remember who the guest was. I do remember it was kind of later, and we had gotten off onto a random tangent about who knows what.
I don't know. It seems to me I think it was about dogs or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, actually, that sounds about right.
Somebody that's been on our radar. So there we go. Got that confirmation as we sit here and speak through the modern technology. So that'll be awesome. Keeping it going. And of course, next week we have Blind Chronicles is going to be our guest. And for those of you that don't know, kind of a minimalist artist. I'm just learning. I'm learning art terms through doing this space over the last year. So I'm trying to use it now and go, yeah, no, that's totally what that is. But I could be wrong. But also a visually impaired artist. So that will be cool to hear some stories next week from Blind Chronicles. I'm pretty pumped on that. For our regular listeners, man, the time flies when you have a Twitter space, like the months that have gone by just like that.
Yeah. I mean, because, you're constantly working for the next week. So trying to figure out who's coming up and putting out promo, and it's not as easy as people think it is sometimes when they first try to start Twitter space.